New song.
I don't know.
Backstreet Boys.
All right.
You should just be able to.
You might have to cut out this part. Hold on. All right.
Oh, it's not connected to the fucking. God damn it. That's
Please
one.
stand by for technical issues.
There. Okay.
Do.
There you go. All right, try now.
All right. Never mind. I hit a new record. So.
Okay.
All right. Actually, before we do that, no, we're already. Sorry.
What's up?
Round 3.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say just keep an eye on that thing to see where our volume is on that thing, but because we want to try to be in the yellow,
Yeah.
not the red. So
Yeah. Ba da ba da ba.
David's our loudest, so.
Ba 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 ba. Okay.
In
Go
the
for it.
land before time.
All right.
All right. Recording now. After I wake up the phone.
Welcome everybody to Strike Team Gaming presents the G4 Experience. Welcome back. Happy Monday. Thank you for being with us. If you're catching us live on YouTube, as we record these and stream these now every Monday night, welcome. If you're listening to us on Spotify, Anchor, or any other location that you can listen to a podcast listening service on, also welcome to the show. We're coming back with you with more gaming news, updates on the channel, and a bunch of other stuff that we feel entitled to tell you. Without further ado, let me introduce who I'm here with.
Irishguy, aka Mike.
This is Doc.
And Zmainia.
Welcome to the show, everybody. My name is Gameboy, and as always, I'm welcomed by my 3 companions, and this is going to be your gaming news as of August 22nd, 2021. Very excited to have everybody here, and welcome to the show. Before we get into anything, I think it's fair for everybody, to agree that today is the day to kind of announce this for the channel and everything going forward. As we previously mentioned in the very first pilot that we ever did with the show was going to have another name. It's just Mike and I lack the creativity to think of another one.
Ain't that the truth?
And with the inclusion of 2 other individuals, we have been able to reach a consensus on what the name is going to be. So if you'll turn your attention to the computer screen now, please welcome us, as we are now henceforth going to be called Level 4 XP. Doc, again, did the logo, and it looks so stunning and beautiful.
Yeah, it does.
So
Amazing.
we're going to use tonight to not only upload this episode to Anchor, but also update all the pages with the new logo, the new name. And if you want to email the show, it's going to be a little more easier to email the show because the email is now going to be level4xp@yahoo.com. And that'll be strictly for any emails you want to send the show.
Are we doing Yahoo? I thought we were doing Google.
We were going to do Gmail, but I done goofed.
Why don't we do Google?
I done goofed.
It's already taken.
Huh?
Is it already taken?
No, I'd already made it.
Oh.
So I can't have 2 different Gmails open on one tab.
You can.
Yeah.
You can have it set up so that way it's a separate browser, technically.
Yeah.
Oh.
I do that at work all the time.
I used to do that with my work email that was Google. Welcome to the day and age of Google.
You didn't delete the Gmail one, did you?
No, because it's attached to literally everything.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
So we have 2 emails.
Well, no,
No,
we're just
gonna keep it the one.
We're
Oh,
gonna
I
keep-
thought you already made the Yahoo. Okay, never
No,
mind.
I already made the Yahoo.
Yeah, he already made the Yahoo.
Oh.
We're just gonna stick with that.
So just stick with the Yahoo one.
Okay.
Level 4 XP at Yahoo. Because it's not attached to any. So that was my issue, is that the other one was literally like attached to everything. So minus the stuff that people could want to get into, kind of deal. So
We'll talk about this later.
Yeah.
I personally prefer Google just because I've always had problems with Yahoo over the time.
Mhm.
That and it's ran by AT&T, and
They suck.
yeah,
Allegedly.
allegedly.
That's my opinion.
My own
Yeah.
personal opinion. So we'll update you on that email in our live or in our social medias and update it on our page.
Boom, bada, boom, boom, boom. Anybody else got anything you want to say this? Are you excited? Super happy?
Oh yeah, I'm super
Jazz
excited.
hands.
I mean,
I came at just the right time to disrupt whatever names they had previously. And any diagrams, they had to remake them all.
well, I mean, I mean,
I
this
Ronnie had to
been-
make them all.
Yeah.
I've been catching a lot of this. This is actually a collaboration between actually Z and then Mike's fiance and my wife of just mixing all these together. And, you know, with their help, we pretty much narrowed it down to this. So, and then the colors with the new red logo, that was actually with the help, like us three were going over it. And then my wife came, like I just had it still up and my wife came in and she's like, I love it. I was like, oh, I was going to ask you about changing the color. And she's like, nope, I love it. I was like, all right, I guess we're going with that color.
I mean, it makes it pop.
Yeah, it does. So it, and this was the background, just kind of give you guys and the viewers. I was, when we initially switched over to adding Zach, I was playing around with a bunch of the changing the background, changing the look a little bit, but still keeping the points. And you guys have seen that too.
Mm-hmm.
And on our Patreon, I will actually upload those other files just to kind of give it a look of the ideas and stuff like that. So kind of what I was going through to figure out stuff. But the only difference is here, we don't have host in the newer ones.
Right. This is apparently the only one I could find.
Yeah, I was thinking, I didn't want to say anything, but like that caught my eye so fast.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a second, hold on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought we got rid of that. But yeah, so the new logo, besides host, because it is a little eye distracting.
It is.
We, as a group, we determined to take it out, which we will upload later, and you'll start seeing everything with the newer stuff. And I'm super excited about this. I actually, I was gonna veto you guys and just release an episode just so we can start getting stuff out there. But I was like, no, I have to hold back.
I must resist
Well, I was-
the
I was-
temptations.
I was the same way because, what was it, yesterday when I...
It was like 2 or 3 days ago. You're like,
Yeah.
can I change everything over to the new logos? Can I start pushing that?
So having to hold back.
Yeah, it was like, no, wait until the announcement. So
Yeah.
So this is the announcement. If anybody is considering making a podcast, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it, and the logo is one.
yes,
And this is the logo wasn't necessarily something that we were just all like, we settled on. No, this was like, does it look right? Does it do this?
Yeah.
You know, does it do that?
Rounds and rounds of deliberation.
yeah, because
Yeah.
that was the other thing that I also added in this. I added a bigger drop back shadow, so it pops a little bit more off of anything that we want to put it on, especially like mugs and stuff like that. So it would pop off of that and separate itself from the background. The only thing it doesn't really work well is against a black shirt, but pretty much everything else it should.
But
kinda
it'll pop off the black anyway. So
yeah.
Yeah. And I think, well, no, I don't think that'd be fair to Zach. Because, like, if we do shirt colors, we'd obviously want one of each of our colors and then probably the logo background color.
Hey,
Hey,
Talk
he
about it
wanted-
later, got it.
He
No,
wanted
I
gray.
think it
Okay.
still would look cool
Yeah.
if you do it right. Because, like, I mean, I have a T-shirt from the concert "The Stage" by Avenged Sevenfold, and I'm not saying it uses that exact same color sequence, but it's a little reminiscent of it, and that looks amazing.
it'll still. I think it would
Yeah.
work.
Yeah, I think it still will pop,
I don't
even
think-
with the gray shirt.
Anyway,
You don't
let's get
understand
into
how I
the
pull
news.
off black.
Yeah, let's move into the news because we can talk about this for one episode.
Right.
This is our news.
So, did you want to go first, or
So, 'cause since we talked about it a little bit beforehand, go ahead with your things. I'll chime in with the stuff that I have because we got a lot of the same stuff.
right?
And then after you got your stuff, I will go over the couple things that I have.
Yeah, that does
Mike.
nothing for my back.
Mike, you gotta go like that.
Yeah, I'm still getting used to it. I forgot he has the bad back.
Oh, yeah, because it's doing this, I could start to feel it.
Yeah.
So I yeah,
Can you feel it now,
Well, I mean,
Mr.
you could
Krabs?
just turn yourself.
I know, but that turning myself is what hurts. I saw you do it, so now I want to do it.
So we're gonna get a GoFundMe for a swivel chair for our fabulous host over here.
Well, anyway,
No, I was doing that for you, Mike.
no, that I need to do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But continue. Let's move on to this lovely
Words.
Professionalism.
Oh shit.
Apparently, I can say that. Gosh.
Alrighty, so I'm gonna go ahead and get into my news. I'm actually excited about the news that I have because I think for the first time a majority of it is relatively positive, and I can say with preface, rather I'm 99% sure. I'm gonna be honest, it was late when I was putting this together, the night before, not last night.
Mm-hmm.
But I can say I have no Activision Blizzard news, so there's that. I'm not gonna dog on anything, so I think everything is gonna be relatively positive today. So there's that. So Zach, this first one's gonna be for you, and that's the other thing. Some of these are gonna be directed at everybody. So Zach, this first one's gonna be for you, and the only reason I say for you is because I think that you're gonna be the only person besides me who has a direct relationship to the individual this would affect. What was the last WWE game that came out, and what do you remember of it?
There should have been a 2021. Devontae would have been a better reference for this. I remember him saying how much he didn't like it. I've even seen him go back to play 2020, WWE 2K 2020, that is. But yeah, that's my recollection on that.
So you're almost right. The last game that they had was 2K20. And that one was marred and just god-awful, unholy abomination of technical difficulties.
In that case, just the games I said, just roll them back one. And it was 2019 that he went back to playing.
So WWE 2K22 has a release date of March 2022, and it was announced at SummerSlam. They stopped making. They didn't make a 2K21 because of the results of 2K22. So they took the entire year to go, okay, let's finite this, get it together, and they're going to be releasing something. They took the Assassin's Creed approach. They stopped at Assassin's Creed Unity, took a year off, made Assassin's Creed Origins. And I'm thinking that when you take this kind of approach to your games, when it's not year-based, let's take a moment to kind of think about what we did. It's going to pay off for him.
Yeah, because the very little time I did spend playing WWE 2K 2020 or 20, it was not too dissimilar to the year 2020 in that it was pretty atrocious.
My question is, who's actually producing the games now?
2K.
2K.
Yeah, the
2K games.
2K games. Oh, okay.
All right. Did you have more on this? Because I actually saw something on this on Reddit earlier today.
The only other thing I have was pretty much what I'd already said. 2020's game was riddled with bugs, some of them game breaking. So they took a hiatus to pretty much correct course on this.
Yeah, they were going pretty hard trying to keep up with the Call of Duty standard of once a year, but not with two or three.
Shut up.
Developers. Developers releasing it on rotation, and it really showed.
Yeah, this is kind of one of the franchises that it bugged me that every time they came out with a new game, because I'm looking at the current titles right now. So it was Roman Reigns and I don't remember the orange hair or the. Oh gosh, I don't remember her name.
Is it Becky Lynch, the man?
Let me see. I'm more of a face person. Yeah, let's go with that because I can't see that. Yeah, Becky Lynch. Totally not Googling that just to see.
You see.
Oh, I can only type so fast.
Well, either way,
yeah.
It's they were on the cover and stuff, and I kind of got in, like I was watching it a little bit, and I think I stopped playing after. Oh gosh, I stopped playing. I think after 16, I think. I played 16.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, it's the same thing with all the games. I don't think they saw that, but.
Okay, I'll make it bigger. That's what she said.
And it's kind of like the same thing with Call of Duty. Everything was always the same thing every year, and there wasn't much that changed.
Yeah, and oftentimes the change was a glitch or maybe them mixing up the controls a little bit.
Yeah.
The only thing that was, or the best part about it, according to my good friend Devontae, and that is character customizations.
That is true. I know, like, some of them, they were able to actually scan. Like, if you had a camera, you can actually scan it, actually put your face in there.
Yeah, 2K was also playing with that with the basketball. I think 2K21. I tried it. I gotta say, I don't think I look like that. I don't look like I fell down a flight of stairs every day of my life for the first 3 years of my life, and somehow survived.
I might actually play 2K22 just because Rey Mysterio's on it.
Oh yeah,
Rey Mysterio, like I was one of the Rey Mysterio guys from like the good old days.
You think he's gonna have his eye back, or are they gonna predate it?
We'll see.
All right, so back.
Let's continue.
Yeah.
Okay, so the thing that I saw it on Reddit earlier, and it's from Pure Xbox. It says 2K's relationship with the WWE has reportedly become seriously strained, and this is in part due to the release date of March. Because it originally normally releases in November, and they pushed for the later release due to a lot of the roster changes within the WWE.
Yeah, wasn't there like a big like cleansing?
Yeah,
I think Ric Flair is out.
Ric Flair's out, and Bray Wyatt, who is the Fiend. Suddenly, they got rid of him like just a little bit over 3 months before Halloween. Like,
Wow.
what were they even thinking?
Yeah, so with that, basically the brand new game would have been outdated with the outdated roster, so they had to scramble and make new things, make new characters or take out characters and whatnot.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just been really strained, and I lost where I had the thing.
Well, while you find that, yeah, with a game like this in an industry where people seem to get cut left and right, especially in a time in which WWE has been reporting record profits. That was just a slight jab. Yeah, it's bound to happen. And plus, with the character customization, unless they end up changing that or otherwise downgrading it, it's not like they wouldn't be added to the game later. I mean, I think I've seen Goku's and just all the crazy stuff.
Right.
Yeah, so one of the developers was quoted saying, "We are fans and gamers like everyone out there." One developer said, "We are doing everything we possibly can to make a wrestling game that fans want." That's the end of the quote, but basically they don't want to make another 2K20.
Yeah.
You know, the way you can make a game that the fans want is if someone tries to climb in the ropes or through them, they don't become one with the ropes.
True.
Or one with the mat.
Yeah,
or if you suplex someone, they don't teleport to another freaking dimension.
Yeah, we don't need a BDSM simulator just suddenly popping up.
I think that was always the one thing with all the games. It's just like you go to slam them, you slam them down over there, and you're over here. You're just like, all right, now I got to run over there, and they got up by the time you're just like, what the hell, man?
Right.
So, all right.
All right, so it's so convenient that we're recording the what we're recording today.
I don't want to.
As far as well, let me just get into it. We all know Skyrim.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sky who?
We all know the Elder Scrolls. We understand how many times this game has been released.
Yes.
Pretty much, when you give a player base an ability to mod said game, there's really no reason for you to re-release with additional features. But unfortunately, that's exactly what's going to happen. Post that I have from IGN says Skyrim's back. Bethesda announced that they are re-releasing The Elder Scrolls Skyrim for next-gen consoles, bringing with it various enhancements. Perhaps the biggest piece of the version will be available for the PS5. I'm just going to skip over this. It's a 10-year anniversary since the game released. This game literally came out when Zach and I were in high school.
Yeah.
I mean, the most popular thing, Jeremy said this, but like the most popular thing they're adding to this game is fishing.
Well, now I have to buy it.
Yeah, you got to buy it to do that. And Jeremy's like, well, there's a mod for that. A player with.
How am I supposed to get my achievements and fish if I use a mod? Like, Jeremy, you got to find him. And you got to teach him why this is important. Through physical pain. We are not advocating violence.
We do not condone violence.
You know, you got to get a physical doll of the Naruto character Pain and then act it out as he fishes. See, I don't understand why this isn't, like, so easy to understand. You all right over there?
I don't understand all the so.
Oh, it's anime.
So what I was gonna say, and this is only gonna go back to all the times you've ever plugged, but I don't understand why they have to remake and remaster shit. I know how I preface that.
Phrasing.
Right.
Remember, we have a previous 2 episodes of remakes and remastered, 1 and 2.
Check that out.
Episodes 2 and 4.
I guess I
Coming soon.
instinctively, yeah.
I wasn't even gonna do it.
Yeah, you weren't
guys
even gonna
did
do it. Yeah, like how it happens.
He was
But
holding
yeah,
back.
I don't understand having to do this. I mean, it's a great game. They did this at an E3 once when they announced the Alexa version when they joked about. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like they're they're self-aware that this game, it's tiresome of being released. Yeah, it was a great game. It was your best seller. You know, it was everything everybody wanted in a Elder Scrolls game.
However, when it came out, it was already kind of like, 15, 20 years out of date in terms of operating system.
Yeah.
That's when it first released.
Yeah.
And they have not done anything to address that. All these, anniversaries and next-gen releases from 360 era to one era and then one era now to Xbox era. They have not actually really addressed that. They just said, hey, we have more processing power. We can get more polygons in there. And that's about it. It just takes longer for it to crash.
So the 10th anniversary will be released November 11th, 2021. If you want to shell out another $60 for a game you've already.
You think they're going to do a midnight release for this one?
No. Wait.
Which, if you want to hear about that, we have an episode where we talk about this.
Wait, what?
Oh, wait, hold on. That wasn't released yet?
No.
We'll have an episode.
Spoiler alert.
Wah, wah. So, yeah, no. With COVID and shit, there's, like, what we used to enjoy going out and doing, we can no longer do. Or, yeah. You got anything?
Not on Skyrim, no.
Okay. So, show of hands.
Right here.
How many people know who that man is on the screen?
Honestly,
I mean, it says on his glasses.
I'd have to guess that the fabulous entrepreneur who came out with gaming consoles that were 100% original, right?
I just got to.
Oh my God.
That's not fabulous.
No, not fabulous.
Wait. He kind of touched on something.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you don't know who this is,
I honestly don't.
this is Soldier Boy. So the reason he's in today's gaming news episode is because a while back I
You gonna
had
tell him?
huh
You gonna tell him?
him.
Soldier. Never mind. Soldier
Oh,
Boy, tell
sorry.
him.
Hey. You've stunned me. So the reason he's in our gaming news today is because a while back we had talked about on the Man Cave how Soldier Boy had made a console. He actually developed a video game console, but it didn't sell like at all, if any, copies.
There was a couple, I think.
I thought we talked about this.
Soldier Boy selling consoles.
Yeah, I thought we mentioned this in one of our episodes. It might have been a gaming news episode, but I remember you guys mentioning it.
It doesn't sound familiar to me, but I mean,
We've done so
brushed-
many.
We
Yeah.
brushed across it.
I remember almost every episode. Okay, word for word. Not really, but
What is
I
the
really-
7th word of the 5th episode?
Hold on, let me get my osteographer.
Anyway, so that's called sidetrack. So
This is Irish guy.
right. So he recently made comments that he has stock or has purchased some ownership over Atari, and Atari has shut that down. Pretty much, he was trying to make he made an attempt at a console, tried to peddle a quote new design, and then he took pot shots at former Nintendo president when he said he quote made him retire.
So I'm not very current, and I don't like the current music right now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't either.
But that's supposed to be Soldier Boy. Why does it look like Soul J Boy? Like,
Out of everything that I've just said in the last minute, that's what you nitpick.
yes.
To
Because
be fair,
I don't pay attention to them as much.
Yeah, to be fair, that image is old enough to where he doesn't have a grill.
Ah.
So, like, he was still learning the letters.
So the one thing I didn't do about all my articles was get the videos from them, and I figured that would have eaten up time anyways.
Yeah.
But he said he posted a video, I think it was to his Instagram, saying that he's claiming that Atari was wowed by his success of his bootleg system, and the company offered him $140 million for them. Atari quickly shut down the message, saying, "We know that the CEO of Atari is a dream job, but that honor belongs to Wade Rosen."
I mean, is Atari even still around? What system do they make?
Is Soldier Boy even worth that much money?
No to both counts. So first off, Atari is technically kind of still around. I think they did something with a console last time we talked, or they were making a console or something. God, it is so hard to remember everything.
Okay, so what is his net worth?
Yeah, I just pulled up Soldier Boy's net worth, and according to Celebrity Net Worth, I don't have a date on here, but he's it looks like he's worth around $30 million.
Wow.
Mm.
Yeah, he's not worth as much as Atari in that supposed offer.
He's living the dream, guys. He's living the dream.
Yeah, he needs to wake up.
I was just thinking the same thing.
Moving on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah, I
Okay.
can't find a date in here.
I'm very excited about this next one.
I could tell.
So, I'm only pulling this up because I saw a Twitch streamer say the phrase, and I quote, "Now all y'all got to get back to work." And I thought that was the pinnacle of mudslinging I've ever seen. So every person at this table has heard the most recent announcement about OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Not the recent. I've
You can no longer show your booty hole on camera on OnlyFans.
What? That was how I was gonna pay for my new TV.
Yep. So OnlyFans is to block and prohibit all sexually explicit videos from the site in a matter of months.
I think it's supposed to go through October 1st-ish.
Yeah, that's
is
what I
the
heard.
official start
All
date
right.
of No Booty Holes.
what's our new site so we can get all those people over?
We got to make an Only Toes account. Except you,
Nobody wants to. No, they were actually talking on the radio show that I listened to on the way home from work, that there is something else that's basically OnlyFans, because OnlyFans was originally created to work for like musicians.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But it's something else that's for content creators. It's kind of
Exactly.
similar to
Yeah.
OnlyFans. I forget what it was called.
but it's the sex industry that really is the reason why it can even get to a point where it can tell them to F off and try and get their own money from investors that don't like it.
So a little history on the sex industry was that when it came to a lot of the like VHSs, Google it, DVDs, Blu-rays, high def, and all that stuff, a lot of those were successful was because of the sex industry.
Oh yeah.
And anything that they backed, they prevailed. So at the time we had Beta Rays that was competing with VHSs.
Mhm.
They backed VHSs. We had VHS for almost 2 decades.
The
Something
rest
like
is
that.
history.
Yeah, for a long time. And then DVDs came out, and that was awesome, you know, for people.
Oh yeah.
The DVDs. The DVDs.
Yeah, but
just
there
by
was
themselves.
also, I think there was also something competing with that, but DVDs went out, and then we had Blu-rays and high def videos,
Yeah, HD DVD.
DVDs, and there was some industries like, I personally have one that's high def.
Yeah, I remember. I was with you when I forget what it was.
It's Pirates.
Yes.
Because there's a scene in there. There's one of the people in there where it's like, man, that looks like one of our friends. Really awkward. But anyways, we'll continue. But Blu-ray won out, even though the majority of the companies did high def. The industry backed Blu-ray, and look at it now. Blu-ray is one of the higher. You know, we've had it for a bit now. Now we have the 4K.
Right.
But there's nothing really competing with 4K, so there's not really anything. And that's why, like, a lot of people don't understand that this type of stuff is that those industries make a lot of money every day.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at Bella Day Ray, I believe I said her name right, she, like, when she came back and when she said that she was going to release a special video for Christmas, OnlyFans blew up. And sorry, I just saw it pop and I knew who it was. And she is like one of the top grossing OnlyFans on there. But then, like, I was browsing through some of the stuff, and there's like foot models and all this stuff.
Only toes.
It's
Did you just look up Only Toes?
No.
Let me get the domain.
so it's. I think honestly there isn't enough. How do I want to phrase this without like
Smut on the internet.
No, I wasn't gonna say smut, but like there is. Where do you draw the line between sex work and
Not sex work?
no? It's like being comfortable with your body, because it's like
Sexual?
a lot of people saw OnlyFans as this opportunity to finally get comfortable with their body, and
Yeah.
So one thing I've seen a lot of people passing over, they're still allowing nudity,
Yeah.
pictures and videos. It's just from what I've heard, because they're changing their terms of service or whatever it's going to be. And from what my understanding is it's going to limit it to, like, you can't go post a video of you doing stuff outside.
wow.
Or like it's going to be like, you can still, I don't know,
They're
because they haven't,
overhauling.
they're overhauling it. They're kind of, it got out of control and they're just kind of reeling it in a little bit.
Yeah.
But from what my understanding is it is going to be a little just dialed back a little.
Well,
You
it
can
sounds
still have
like
nudity.
Yeah, it's gonna be like rated R in a movie, pretty much.
Yeah. Instead of TV. Well, TVMA. I haven't gone through the
Even
guideline.
MA.
And
Did you
C17.
go back one? More specifically to the last section of the last quote, the last part of the commas. We must evolve our content guidelines. Yeah, it from what I've been hearing and seeing, looking into it, because I have friends that post stuff about this on social media. It's largely about, you can do the term tasteful nudes comes to mind. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Some of you guys might not agree that expression works, but I'm going to use it anyways. Some people are against stuff like that.
I agree with you. Tasteful. I mean, look.
Yeah.
Look at an industry that's been around for ages, Playboy,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it's tasteful,
Yeah.
and
Sex sells.
and it's not like they're full on showing frontal and all that stuff. It's really
They make it art.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, I remember to go on from minimal tangent. I remember stuff. I remember
Why'd you have
stuff.
to do your fingers like that? Told
My,
you that confidence.
Growing up and everything, you get your dad's Playboy or something like that. My grandfather he didn't really collect Playboy. He collected Easy Rider. Now, the difference between an Easy Rider comic,
Oh my.
an Easy Rider magazine versus Playboy magazine was it's a little bit like they do display, but they show a little bit more than what a Playboy would do. And, you know, the art form's going to be out there. It's been around for centuries. It's been around since the time that we've been here.
Yeah, I guarantee you that nudity has existed longer than clothes. You can challenge me on this.
And it's not going to go away, you know. And trying to minimize that on some platforms, I understand, because you're trying to make your platform sensible now that it's blown up so much. But where was this a few years ago when the platform first hit off like that?
Right. It sounds to me like they're largely just doing this to get new investors, because whether or not it's a smart business investment or it's obviously been successful pretty much throughout the entire history of mankind, in general, the sex industry is not one that has been looked favorably upon by businesses. Funny, a primarily female-dominated, or in terms of quantity, industry is not really looked very favorably upon by the financial circuit.
Yeah, well, actually, just this article that he has on the screen, the second to last paragraph, they're trying to get money from a venture capitalist, and the money that they're hoping to raise would partially buy out majority owner, porn mogul
Leo Radovinsky.
That explains a lot. Yeah.
So they're hoping with the venture capitalist, they're hoping it'll bring more legitimacy, instead of having a porn mogul on there. I'm assuming it's just going to be, like I said,
their stock's going to draw it. I can see it.
Are they a publicly traded stock yet? Or that might be what they're trying to
do. Actually,
I'll pull it up right now.
Yeah.
But all of this is, like, the largest thing to me when I think of, or when I hear about this, is that you cross the bridge on the backs of all these people, and now that you're finally at a spot where you can see greener pastures, you're burning it behind you.
Yeah, I mean, that's how society has always been.
Yeah,
where we build on, now let's bury our dirty little secret with these new terms and policies. After we've gotten all this cash revenue, let's try to sweep it underneath the rug.
Right. Now that I can go on without you, why would I not?
Yeah.
All right, moving on. We talked a lot of sex today.
Oh, yeah. Don't forget my Only Toes account.
I better not see the three of you make one later today.
Is those three sets of feet?
Wait a minute, there's four of us. So obviously everyone here has probably seen the new Call of Duty Vanguard trailer.
No.
God.
Yeah.
Oh, that one? No.
Anyway, so I pulled an article that highlighted the details of the trailer from Game Informer, and pretty much what it does is it talks in detail what we know about it. I wasn't going to spend a whole lot of time on it. I was just going to go through the bits and pieces, but the big one that I took away from the trailer was, yet again, as we've previously talked about when it comes to Call of Duty, rather than having a single linear story that it's used to, we're going back to multiple stories. And unfortunately, with the last couple of Call of Duty titles, the single-player campaign has not been lengthy. It's been very short. So you're trying, if their campaign is not extensive, and I know it's real hard for you to make an extensive campaign about killing Nazis, but if you don't have an extensive campaign and you break it up to have 4 fronts, Eastern Front, Western Front, Africa, Pacific Front, you're not going to have a lot of people are not going to be able to get attached to your characters. And that was the first thing that kind of stood out to me, is they highlighted each 4 different theaters that you're going to be playing in. And
I wouldn't mind that, but if it actually did this, like, you could choose which story that you followed. Have all the stories, but then
4 mini campaigns.
Yeah, kind of like 4 mini campaigns, and then like at the end, like, you can do each campaign, and then at the end you can actually choose which main campaign you want to finish and have the different, almost different storylines, even though we know how it all ends.
Yeah.
But have like those different little storylines end differently versus, what happened over here is a little bit different what happened over here. Honestly, I would prefer something like that instead of switching between everything, because I know we were talking about with just 2, it got confusing between, I'm now over here. How does that make sense? So that you heard it here first.
Yep. So in addition, Sledgehammer helming the campaign, Treyarch is lending its zombie talents to the title for the addition of a zombies mode, and Raven is coming in with a brand new Warzone map. So there's a lot of studios coming in, working on bits and pieces of this upcoming project.
I am quite surprised that they were willing to bring zombies into not their title, if you will. That I'll have to. I wasn't really considering getting this game, but now that I know that they're coming in with this zombies mode, I might actually end up getting it just for that.
All right, so with this, I actually do have something on this, and actually in regards to the trailer itself.
Okay.
One thing that was noticeably missing was the Activision logo.
Yeah.
And in a press, in a press release, they actually said it was due to creative choices that reflects on how Vanguard represents the next major installment in the franchise, which we all know is just because of the lawsuit.
Yeah.
I came this close.
So this is something I mentioned earlier to my wife about of how, even though they've been a major benefactor of them, technically they're still part of the franchise and stuff. And just because you take out their name, they still have rights to it.
Right.
And that's because it's almost, this lawsuit's going on, but it's also partial their property and could damage their reputation depending on what it is.
Yeah.
I'm not condoning the frat boyism of Blizzards or anything, but people are so easy to just say no,
And plus, just because they don't have their logo there, doesn't mean that they're not going to be in the credits for the game and all that.
Yeah.
The logos up front are just, they don't really mean much if you really think about it. It's just like, hey, these people had a hand in the game, or these studios, etc., producers, whatnot. But it's not like just because it's not there doesn't mean they're not getting credit in the game.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean they're not receiving financial compensation for their time. It just means that they're not in the forefront, especially because of what's going on. That's not exactly good for the label or any branding whatsoever.
Yeah, because I think that might have probably hit sales if they had that big logo on there.
Yeah, there's just something about picking up the title and thinking, man, there is possibly someone who was a real POS to a marginalized group that worked on this. Do I really want to support them? Because, money is speech.
Yeah.
So one other thing that was announced with the trailer is they're finally getting an anti-cheat in Warzone.
What?
Is it software or?
I don't know. As far as I could tell, there haven't been a lot of details about it. I was watching a video earlier that had Nick Merckx, a Twitch streamer, talking about it, and he was like, I don't think he's like, if I get the game, he's like, I'll probably pick it up, but I don't want to, but because it's taken them this long to get an anti-cheat, and it's something we've been wanting for, and now they have it, but you got to pay $60 to get the game, and then it's gonna be, at least that's what what is speculated.
Yeah.
And then also Nick Merckx isn't a fan of the World War II stuff, so he's.
Yeah, I could think of at least 2 people who aren't.
Yeah. Anyway, that is all I have on this.
So, along with the launch trailer of this game, or whatever the term is for revealing, they did talk about the multiplayer mode. There's going to be at least 20 maps and 3 different game modes that we can explore. that has reactive environments. So, hi, Call of Duty. Welcome to the era of Battlefield. So now you can blow out bookcases, walls, boards, windows, blah, blah, blah. Anything. They're trying to keep the game dynamic. They did talk about Champion Hill, which is an 8-team extravaganza, which players battle down to the last team to control one. It's like King of the Hill, except it's like an elimination mode from what I gathered from it. They talked about 3 different combat paces, from a tactical that features longer time to engagement and lower player counts to blitz. When you I didn't really go too in depth with this, but the game's set to release in November.
Yeah, it's probably a game I most definitely won't be picking up. So
Won't be?
I won't be.
Okay.
Yeah, I won't be either.
I'll think about it. If I'll probably end up picking it up if it goes on sale, just for the zombies. But so far, I've been pretty satisfied with Cold War zombies.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. My dumbass will pick it up because it's World War II. If I think the only thing that Call of Duty has actually done right
Is World War II.
I think so, because like they got something really good with Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2, and then they're just like, well, how far can we take this? And then they just kind of went off the rails.
Yeah, especially because, seeing as how the World War II stuff is all in the past, it's all pretty much laid out, and there's only so much creativity, I guess, you can add to it before you could break it, and so there's a lot of capacity. But all the future stuff, it's almost purely based off of the creativity of the designers. So there's so much room for error on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it seems like the writers don't have much of a background in storytelling.
Yeah.
I mean,
At least not sci-fi.
killing Nazis is killing Nazis. It's always fun.
I tell you quit.
I tell you what. So there is an analyst named Matt Piscatella who said that Call of Duty Vanguard is expected to be the best-selling game in 2021 in the U.S., of course. He pretty much he's like, shocking, I know, but I have Call of Duty Vanguard forecasted to be 2021's best-selling game in the U.S. Yeah, so I get it because it's a Call of Duty game, and it's holding that Call of Duty clout and name to it. But I'm thinking of all the other games that are coming out in 2021 alone. Far Cry, Forza Horizon 5, Battlefield.
Yeah, like it reminds me of gambling. It's like a lot of the regular titles have to play on roulette, so you got all these a lot of options. And
you need to start sitting over here.
Right?
Sorry, shit captures off screen. I'm sorry.
I was just
You see hit markers behind you. You turn it.
We take gaming seriously here. So not only David's response, but just gaming in the environment has to be happening. It fuels us.
We got to put blinders on.
I'm trying, but
Do we need to switch seats? I don't know if that's gonna work for your back though.
I need to be sitting where I'm not facing that. It's almost time to restart your device. How about we just don't reschedule?
I really thought you were about to click confirm. I was like, all right, so this has been us, and I got sidetracked.
Let me move on because I don't want to eat up too much time.
Yeah.
Anyway, the rest of the article pretty much hints at what other games for the past decade have been the game of the year that top the charts. RDR2, GTA 5, Black Ops 4. Halo Infinite is another game releasing. There's a lot of games that haven't been Call of Duty that won Game of the Year. And then there's a lot of games just coming out as well that are rival its competition.
Honestly, I don't want to be a fanboy because I haven't really been for the last couple ones, but I am actually looking forward to Halo Infinite. This is probably one of the games I'm probably looking forward to, if anything, of next year that I'll probably get.
Right.
As long as it's on the old system, because no one can get the new series.
Really though, but I don't want to get into that. I'm
Right?
not very
I'll be
happy
getting it
about
on
that.
PC.
I might, but I don't think my graphics card can handle it. So I usually dog shit on this when it comes to the Madden Cave, but we haven't been able to connect lately, so I'm going to do it now and also again because I know it'll bug Slipshot. But Cyberpunk 2077, has dropped to $10 on the Xbox and PS4.
Picking it up.
I should have accepted the return. I literally have played almost none since I bought it when it came out, but I was like, no, I'll play it later, so I'm not going to return it.
Yeah.
I would have saved so much money.
Other things coming out of Cyberpunk is patch 1.3, and its details have been revealed. CDPR has a long way to go to get us to trust buying another game from them. And right now, the only way that they can get that trust back is to patch the hell out of Cyberpunk.
Yeah, we need less 1.x and we need more x.y. Like we need patch 2, 3.
Is this their first game?
No, they done the Witcher series. They, yeah, just look up CDPR
Were they
games.
lead on that though?
Yes.
Or were they,
Actually, they were the ones that had their source code stolen as kind of a ransom to get Cyberpunk fixed. You guys don't remember that?
I don't
It was all over the internet. Some hackers stole the source code for The Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk and held it as ransom until the game was fucking patched. That's two.
Awesome.
Wow.
So once it arrives, the price of an item will. So I guess there's a lot of bugs and fixes that they got to do, but apparently there's a lot of items in the game that cost a bunch. So they're going to decrease the cost of a lot of items in games.
Well, you skipped over that whole intimate with males and females.
do you not want to get intimate with us?
I'm not familiar with a lot of the features in the game, but it seems to come full circle as we just talked about OnlyFans. So apparently the patch will display images of both sex workers with a dialogue option throughout the entire conversation. Images for both sex workers briefly appeared on screen before disappearing, which caused some players to choose the wrong gender by accident.
You think they'll have an only augments
Did you?
website in the game?
Haha. Is that the direction you thought it was going to go?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. A lot of those games nowadays.
And then Cyberpunk's first DLC is fully cosmetic.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, they're playing it safe because, cosmetics can mess with the game, could potentially break it, but compared to actually implementing new anything other than cosmetics, really, let's just go broad stroke it. They're playing it safe, and that's smart. They need to focus on fixing it before they start adding new features.
So yeah, just more of 1.3. The first DLC will include 2 jackets, a new car, and a new outfit for Johnny Silverhand.
How much is this DLC? Jeez.
Better be
10 to $20 maybe. I think it's free. I thought I saw something that says it was free. Oh yeah, the DLC's free.
Okay.
Top paragraph. Free DLC will also be included in the upcoming update.
I was about to say.
All right. I know this is long-winded, but I'm trying to burn through it, so try not to segue. Halo Infinite news. Mike, you got something?
Negative.
I have a little bit.
Okay.
So, based off of the report from thegamer.com, it looks like for the technical preview of Halo Infinite, there will be big team battle and 4v4 specifically.
Whoop, whoop.
Right?
Yeah.
I know that excites you, too. Come on.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
Team SWAT would have been awesome, but whatever.
Right.
Can't please
It'll
everybody.
probably be in the full game. It's just technical preview.
I hope so.
Other updates is Halo Infinite won't include campaign co-op and Forge at launch. Just at launch. Because you got a lot of things that people got to remember. First off, it's launching on Game Pass. And there are 4.5 million people that subscribe to Game Pass, roughly. I have to look at that stat again. 2, not even just addressing this, but the fact that you don't want another CDPR with a really popular game. I mean, this is right now, CDPR has only done one thing. It's made us gamers look at our industries hardcore. So pretty much, unfortunately, we focused the team for shutdown. And a lot of what's going on is direct result of the coronavirus pandemic. The quote here says, unfortunately, we focused the team for shutdown and really focused on a quality experience for launch, we made the really tough decision to delay shipping campaign co-op for launch. And we also made the tough call to delay shipping Forge past launch as well.
See, I can understand Forge because there's a fair bit to that. They got obviously they can't ship it out at a level that the developers have, so they have to configure all that stuff. So that takes a lot. The co-op campaign, on the other hand, that threw me a little bit. I wasn't expecting them to say not ship co-op campaign, something that has always been like a thing since forever. But I guess they're going a little bit Grand Theft Auto online at launch with it.
Never
Yes.
mind, I won't get it.
Yes, some things we won't be able to do for launch, but that's part of it being a service. And this guy Stanton has specifically called Halo Infinite a quote live service. And the good news is that we have a year-long post-launch content and feature roadmap already worked out. You know, we're already working on things now, so yeah, some things won't land at launch in a launch time frame, but some things will just roll out over time. And that's part of Halo Infinite journey we're trying to kick off together with fans.
Okay, that makes sense, especially with the multiplayer really being a live service, like straight out.
Yeah.
But I mean, other than people like doing like challenge modes and stuff, like you remember when Rooster Teeth did fails of the week, or the Jack and whatever his name was did the courses for
Sorry.
For the Halo Forges. Yeah. I think that's the only thing I've ever seen Forge used for. I don't know that they've actually used a whole lot of player content to bring into their games.
Griff Ball.
Yeah,
Griff Ball.
Okay,
I would
I'll shut up.
disagree, though, not even including Griff Ball. Because just specifically taking Halo Reach, because that's the freshest in my mind right now. They eventually came out with just content created lobbies where it's like, all the races, that was like almost all made by like content creators and just verified to make sure that it was okay by I guess at the time that was why am I blanking? Not 343. Bungie. No. Correct me if I'm wrong about that. But yeah, so there's actually a lot of content creation usage out of that. 3 not so much, but Reach and onward, I think there was quite a bit.
So the only other one I had was Game Informer pretty much saying the same thing. Both links will be listed in Discords. The one thing I did take away from this article that it wasn't in the other one was fourth paragraph down. Campaign co-op and Forge aren't the only two missing features at launch. Earlier this month, 343 announced that assassinations won't make it in time for Halo Infinite's release. I do actually know the reason why behind that. And there are likely several other issues to iron out, like, quote, those bots having a hard time climbing stairs. I've seen the videos. They're hilarious. It's just a bunch of bots jumping around in circles, shooting and throwing grenades. It's great, man. But yeah, as far as the assassinations, I think it had something to do with people being offended by it.
I think it was also because a lot of people don't really use them. Because if I remember correctly, if you quick tap melee instead of holding it, it's just the pap, and it's a lot faster. It's still an instant kill, but the assassination truly was the teabag of instant kills, or hits in the back assassinations. Awesome. It really sucked when you got assassinated though. But there is, I think, a chance to be saved. So I don't know. I personally think they should keep them in. Definitely not like getting rid of them entirely. It's one thing to need time to roll it out because of the animations, and there's more important things to focus on a COVID era development cycle. But I hope they do keep them, even if I'm the one who gets assassinated a lot.
Yeah. So that one I actually had heard something about as far as the assassinations go. I heard that they are taking it out at least at launch because in the technical preview, a lot of the players are actually turning them off.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's due to bugs or whatever the case may be, but that is why they are going to be out at launch.
Yeah. My understanding is it was a tactical decision, but there could also be bugs. Yeah.
So I'm gonna go ahead and introduce this first one. I thought this image served what we're about to talk about for the last bit of this. Was concerned. But I'm going to introduce it. I don't know much about it other than the articles at hand. And then, Mike, I think you know a little bit more about it, so I'm just going to let you take it.
I got a little bit about it. I haven't. Well,
Well,
go ahead, and then we'll go from there.
So, Fortnite has a new mode called Imposter Mode, and
Totally original.
Right.
The first article I heard from Game Informer is, does the new Imposter Mode take Among Us inspiration too far? There were a lot of the premise of the game in Fortnite directly mimicked that of Among Us, and if we learned anything about Among Us, it was the game to play during quarantine.
Yes.
Everybody was playing it.
It was
So much so that they canceled making a sequel to work on the primary, which I've never seen a gaming industry do.
Well, I mean, they are a small company. It's two companies, I think, one in Japan and then I think one in Russia. Or the two groups that work together under Sloth is one in Japan and Russia, I believe, or it might be Korea.
From my understanding, is the whole inner sloth or whatever is 3 people.
Okay, that would explain. Yeah, because I know.
Well, it was 3 people.
Yeah, they're probably way more now. Or starting to get there.
I know they hired a 4th one, somebody to do their social media stuff, but other than that, I haven't paid attention.
Actually, someone tweeted an image. I don't have it on screen because I don't know why it didn't load. Someone tweeted an image of the map in Fortnite from the Imposter Mode, and then one of the Among Us Unity programmer Gary Porter pretty much said, "I haven't been tweeting much recently because I've been working so hard on the upcoming content for Among Us. So it feels weird to be compelled to tweet again because of stuff like this." And he pointed out to the map that is going to be in the slide later. But he says, it's okay, though. They flipped the electrical and med bay and connected security to the cafeteria. Wasn't even around for the development of Skeld. And I'm still kind of offended.
Yeah, it was pretty much like they were like, oh, look, there's this new mode. It's Among Us.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Like I'm looking
They don't care. Yeah.
I'm looking at the about page on Inner Sloth's website, and there's just only 5, and this as of this recording, yeah. So just to get pretty much ripped off by such a big
Company,
title,
yeah. I mean, Hasbro does that all the time.
Co-founder of Inner Sloth said,
allegedly.
He doesn't patent Among Us mechanics because, quote, I don't think that leads to a healthy game industry.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I'm just going to keep making the games I want to make. Everything else is just noise.
Yeah, I mean that's like I mean, when Among Us came out, after it really hit really big, there was so many adaptations. There was a duck version. There's a one of the guys I watch on YouTube, Mr. Fruit. They play a lot of those type of games, and the duck ones. It's your geese or gooses versus ducks.
Oh yeah, I've seen that one.
It's hilarious, but it's the same thing. Like there's so many versions of it, and if you still believe in them and you just still support them and stuff, so that's.
Oh no. Oh my God.
In case we are still somehow streaming, cancel.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Wait. Maybe. No.
Are we still live?
We
Jesus
may or may
fucking
not
Christ.
be experiencing technical difficulties as
No,
we are currently verifying.
All right,
it still
keep going.
says live. So I'm just
What does that say?
We're going.
Sure
We've been going the entire time. All right,
Okay.
we're still good. It looks like.
It's fucking annoying. That's 4.
You sure you didn't confirm? Yeah. So sorry about that. Windows. Unless you're not on Windows, in which case you just learned about Windows. It does this. Yeah. So it'd be nice to continue supporting Among Us. Like I think I bought some character packs, and I bought the game.
I bought it
for my tablet. I bought some cosmetics. It came out on the Xbox, right? Didn't it do that?
Yeah, it came out on all the
Yeah,
systems.
I ported over to Xbox, PlayStation, and Switch.
Yep.
Yeah. I didn't buy it on the other ones just because I already had it on.
I think
this
Switch
little
it was
baby right
free.
here. Oh, really? I gotta look into that because I do have a Switch.
It was
a lot
either
of fun.
free or like $10. I mean, they're pretty cheap.
Yeah.
It's I don't play the Xbox much, so that's the only reason why I didn't get it on Xbox. But the Switch, we played it on and stuff, and it. I mean, I loved it. I love lying. David's horrible at it.
Man, yeah.
Oh yeah, we had one among us was we had some good lobbies.
We had some pretty good games.
Right. How are you not going to believe me? Gets voted out. Was the imposter.
So the slide that I have here again is that map.
I've seen gameplay
Yeah.
of it. Yeah, it's pretty much a. Yep, we made a. We copied your game.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do about it?
To quote a great philosopher who still is giving content, "Nana nana boo boo, stick your head in doo doo."
So yeah, that's pretty much everything I've got. If anybody's got
Alright.
anything else.
Yeah, so with this, the game mode released on the August 17th, so a couple days ago. One thing that it is doing is it does partially tie into the overarching storyline that is going on for the current season. And with that, there is there is somebody that is working with Jonesy, who's like the blonde guy that's the main Fortnite guy you see and stuff. He's working with somebody that's an imposter, and they're trying to find who it is. So I think they released this mode, which is, from what I've seen, Among Us reskinned.
Mm.
Yeah.
So that is why it's there. It would have been nice if they did an Among Us collaboration, because they've collaborated with so many other
Yeah.
games, movies, whatever the case may be.
But this is also the thing, is when Battlefield released, what did Fortnite do? Battlefield. Or Big
Battle Royale.
Royale. They did the same thing. Like, Battlefield was starting to pop off, or Player
mean
Unknown.
Player, yeah.
Player Unknown with their battle, whatever it's
PUBG.
called.
Battle Royale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was popping off, and then their game was initially, when I remember the game, was from years back from a Twitch waffle, or a giant waffle. Yeah, and I remember him and Lyric and one of their other friends, they were playing the story mode, and he became a founder and all that stuff for it. And then all of a sudden, PUBG started popping off, and all of a sudden now Fortnite has a battle,
I would assume I would assume that Fortnite had to have been working on it for a while, because you don't come out with a game like that.
we say that, but it was a month or so, I think.
Yeah,
after,
I want to say there was a decent amount of time.
yeah, that they could have wrote some code. I mean, with this is legit.
They did have the base game out for a while, the Save the World portion, so they could have just taken aspects of that. Yeah, it is possible that they did that, and they're like, hey, let's jump in on this, because there were other Battle Royales that were out, which we also have an episode on Battle Royale. If you want to check that out, I don't know what episode it is, but
I don't know what episode it is.
it's the one titled Battle Royale.
Yes.
Yeah, it looks like there was I think it was PUBG. It came out this 2017 March 23rd, according to Google, and it looks like it was September. I think it was September 26th. I'll go back, but that's when Fortnite came out with its Battle Royale. So there was quite a few months.
Yeah.
6 months. That's still.
That's
That's
not
what I mean.
too bad for like when it first came out. It wasn't as complicated as it is now. For those of you that haven't been playing Fortnite since the beginning, because Devontae was a founder, and so you could give people codes.
Mm-hmm.
So I was playing with him when it first came out.
Oh yeah, I'm a founder also.
Yeah. So it was actually pretty simple comparatively. Like the world mechanics for Fortnite, like it was pretty simple. So
Yeah.
that's when you already have when you already have the sandbox, and all you have to do is actually build a little area of stuff with things you've already made, 6 months is not unrealistic.
Well, a lot of their stuff is confined. Already there are a lot of stuff you're in zoned areas.
Yeah.
So it's already easier for them to do it.
Yeah, 6 months is not unreasonable at all for a development time like that. So Fortnite has largely been, everybody thinks this is cool, so let's take that and maybe put our own slight, maybe more than slight, but generally it's closer to slight twist on it, and people love it.
I honestly thought Fortnite, when I first saw Fortnite came out with this, I was like, oh, they stole that off of PUBG.
There was a lawsuit with the PUBG, whoever it is that makes PUBG. I don't remember. But I think that lawsuit ended up getting thrown out by the courts because
it's creative
free use.
Yeah. They don't own the right to the format PUBG.
Yeah.
The game mode.
To be fair, because I was just double checking. The Battle Royale came out September 26th. But to be fair, Fortnite itself was released July 25th, so it looks like it was more of a 2-month.
Look up Save the World. I think it came out even further before that.
Well, the beta came out I think it came out the year before.
Yeah.
So.
Good. Yeah. It's still saying according to Google, Save the World itself. Yeah. That's right. It was in beta mode for
beta
like years.
Yep.
So yeah, no, I rescind that in their defense. Extra, not in their defense.
Yeah.
Okay, so a couple things here to wrap up since you got that. Saints Row is getting a remake, which we already touched on. We got an episode on that, episodes 2 and 4. It is set to be revealed later this week. He teased it on Twitter, and with the full reveal coming at Gamescom opening night live. And Saints Row's website shows a brick wall with some graffiti on it saying rebooting. Xbox has a game that turns your TV into a giant aquarium called Siamese Fighting Fish. It's basically a bunch of beta fish that they don't fight or anything, but it does say that they do have a mode called Kung Fu Fighting Fish.
Gosh.
Everybody was kung fu fighting.
Twitch rivals this, or I don't know exactly when it was. They had a Halo 2 tournament for $50,000. Ninja threw in an extra $100,000 of his own money for the grand prize, which is the largest prize pool for Halo in years.
Nice.
And Stardew Valley is set to host a $40,000 tournament in collaboration with a streamer by the name of Unsurpassable Z, or Unsurpassables, I'm not sure how they say it. And it will include 4 teams going head-to-head. It'll include loot challenges, or it'll include 100-plus challenges, ranging in difficulty from naming your horse a certain name to getting to the 100th floor of a building. I'm not too familiar with the game, but it is a game that is fairly popular from what I've heard. I've looked into playing it, but I just haven't gotten the money for it. And that is all I got.
The only thing I have from Marvel is that they released a few things. They released the first teaser trailer for Spider-Man Way at Home. That's why I was like, oh my gosh, because I haven't heard the sound, but I was watching the video, and oh my gosh.
Is it the one with Doc Ock and...
Yes.
Yeah, I'm 99.9% sure that's fake. I'm like 99.9% sure.
That's on their website. That's on Marvel's official website. Right here.
I doubt Marvel's putting out fake news.
No, there's actually been speculation that a lot of the some of the actors are coming back for it.
Oh, I'm aware. I'm not gonna shit on your breakfast cereal.
Hey, if it's not real, let's make a bet right here. If it's not real, we'll do something. Second,
you had to do that when I was taking a drink.
I know, that's why I did it.
Dick.
Second episode of What If came out last week. Third episode is releasing this week. Man, these episodes, Mike, I know you haven't seen it yet, but these episodes, wow, that's really all I got to say. Have you caught up yet?
Wait, which one? Sorry, I was double checking something.
What if?
Oh, yeah, I've seen the second one. I'm caught up.
I'm looking forward to the third one coming out.
Yeah, space Wakanda forever.
I know David me and him had a discussion about this earlier, but
Muy poquito.
little small.
So I did have it playing. I started to watch it, but I got a new game on my phone that I backed on Kickstarter. And I was invested in the game, and then I absorbed zero information from it. I need to actually sit down and just watch it.
You'll probably end up seeing some memes about it. One of my favorites is a picture of Thanos in the movies, and it says "Boss when you fight him," and then Thanos in the episode, and then "Boss when you unlock him" as a playable character. 100% accurate.
Yes,
he is so soft.
Yes. Jeffrey Wright as the voice of the Watcher. Oh my gosh. Every time I hear him just talk about, I was just like, yeah, I think they've done a lot of this. I know there's been a few things about some of the recasting of some of the voices for him, but I think they're kind of going to good direction with everything coming off of Loki. So a lot of these things, like we've mentioned before, I wish they were a little bit longer. If they were an hour long, I would probably sit and still watch it.
They could easily take that same content and not just jam pack it, and it would fill that pretty easily. But yeah, it's just so rapid fire in that.
Yeah. From DC, I have so DC's been doing this Dark Universe series, Dark Knight's Death Metal. So there's a band edition. It is comic books that are being released with actual metal bands. So first issue is going to feature Megadeth as the metal band, or as the band edition. Second issue is going to release with Ghost.
Nice.
Third issue is, I can't read that, Mike, you might know.
Lacuna Coil.
Lacuna Coil.
Yeah.
That picture right there in the middle on that thing is me at their concert. Here in town, and that picture is off of their Instagram.
So you've heard about them a little bit.
At that show, and yeah, they are really good. Lacuna Coil,
Fourth Opus. Fifth issue is going to be Sepultura. Sixth issue is going to be Dream Theater, and the final issue 7 is going to be Ozzy Osbourne.
That's a pretty good lineup.
Yeah.
Sharon.
I just find it funny that you can only understand him when he's singing.
Yeah.
All right.
So it's supposed to be rolling out throughout 2021. So it's said internationally in March, but I don't remember seeing anything like this. I'll have to take a look. I'm looking at this. Apparently this report was in February, but it's apparently on their latest news of their page. So
They must have updated the article.
yeah. So I am going to be looking at that at my local game store.
Yeah, I've
Or
seen
online.
about half of those bands live.
Nice. And that will be my news.
So I just have two other things that haven't already been covered. So with the Black Widow, ScarJo lawsuit, I don't think I've heard a number of what the projected losses that she was saying she had was, but it looks like based off of this article on Screen Rant, it's roughly about 50 million was the projected loss that she got from her bonuses due to the box office being hit with the release on Disney Plus. And I think this is going to start a precedent on this stuff, because with the releases a lot of places are doing this, HBO, Disney Plus, et cetera, et cetera. It's probably going to either change the way, depending on who wins in this lawsuit, it'll either change the way that contracts are created for bonuses specifically, or what was it? It's going to change the way that they decide to go about doing releases on apps like this. Because, you know, if ScarJo wins, they're probably not going to be able to get away with this anymore. And other places are going to be a bit more weary about
If
it.
she wins, it's going to just be strictly theater. They're not going to even mess around with that.
Either that, or they're going to have to bring that into the contract. Because with her contract, it did not
State it.
It did not specify anything with regards to Disney Plus releases. That's why she lost out on so much money, and that's why she's suing them. But yeah, that's. So that was that. Oh, did you have something?
I was just gonna say, I mean, that's with Doom that's coming out. Like HBO, like this is the thing with Disney. You have to pay an additional $30 to get it for that month, but you get their premium edition, which means you should get all the movies that release for that month, which they're only releasing one movie a month. And I just, you're already paying their subscription plus an additional $30. As an HBO, I'm paying the one fee, which I think I'm not paying it, but my mother-in-law is, but it's part of our deal. And we get all the HBO channels, we get the premium edition, and I get to watch, Dune when it comes out, because that's what they release. Now they do have some movies that are just going to to theaters, but they do have this. I might actually still watch Dune in the theaters after I watch it on TV, just because. Oh my god!
Because the theater experience is
It
not
is.
what it is at home.
Yeah.
It's just something about spending nearly $20 on concession stands and then going to the big screen, which, oh, wait, no, it's been a few weeks. We're on the smaller screen. Okay, that's okay. I guess.
Actually, right now, theaters are discounting a lot of the concessions
Really?
just because to draw people in.
back in, yeah.
That's smart.
That, and I'm also part of Cinemark Movie Club, so I get the 20% off.
Yeah, I just signed up recently.
Yeah.
But I'll move on to the last little bit. I thought this was just kind of cool. Going back to Bethesda. So Bethesda hired the head writer of the Fallout London mod, which was a pretty popular mod, Stephanie Zacharidis, is now working as an associate quest designer at Bethesda, though we don't know what game she's on. This was also sourced from thegamer.com. So I just thought that was really cool. So many mod developers out there creating stuff, hoping to get picked up, and this woman, Stephanie, actually succeeded. I just think that's really cool.
Yeah. So I think with that, go ahead, David.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for your gaming news as of
The 22nd.
Thank you. August 22nd, 2021. If you haven't already, make sure you check out the link trees in the description below. Make sure you follow us everywhere this podcast gets featured. Anchor distributes it for us. So there's not a podcast service you won't be able to find us on. We would also greatly appreciate any review you give us, never after 5 stars.
I'm asking for 5 stars.
But thank you for leaving us a review. And also, there's a new email down there, level4xp@yahoo.com. So thank you. Thank you, everybody, for joining us as today will mark the new, start of us being referred to as Level 4 XP. I've been here with
Irishguy, aka Mike.
This is Doc.
And Zmainia.
I'm Game Boy, everybody. Thank you for hanging out with us. You enjoy the rest of your night. Stay safe, stay healthy, and enjoy the rest of your week.
I thought you were laughing. I was like,
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break. Go ahead and refill your glasses, enjoy some food, whatever you got to do. Make sure you come back, and we're going to continue this episode into more podcasts and stuff. And we're back. Give us a
All right.
second.
Yep, we're going to be cutting the music off, and we're going to be starting the next episode here shortly.
Can I have my mic muted real quick?
Yeah. Stop. Damn it. Damn technology.
Don't spill.
You want a coaster?
Yeah, it's slightly chill. I don't think you can turn me on. Oh yeah, you have successfully turned me on. I don't think it's gonna leave a ring, but better safe than sorry.
Yeah.
Just don't spill.
Right. See,
That
yeah,
was-
I'm
that was
keeping it.
written for David, but
The trick is keeping it out of your general reach zone.
Can we start the episode?
All right. We're going to start recording here. Oh.
Dismiss. Hit. Click dismiss. Click.
Is your phone going to go off with an alarm again?
No.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know.
Recording.
Welcome everybody to Strike Team Gaming presents Level 4 XP, the podcast brought to you by Anchor and the Strike Team Gaming community. Welcome to another pre-scheduled episode, and today, this one's for all you nerds. Today we're going to be talking about D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, and everything that revolves around it. Yeah. So without further ado, let me introduce who I'm here with.
Irishguy, aka Mike.
This is Doc.
And Zmainia.
Welcome everybody, I'm Game Boy. Today we're going to be talking about Dungeons and Dragons, the role-playing tabletop
game.
Yeah, that you have essentially, everybody knows by name, but few have actually executed a game on. Today this is going to be Doc's episode, so we're going to go ahead and let him pretty much take the reins of it. So yeah, Doc, all yours.
I totally forgot to bring up my episodes as we're sitting here doing this.
Oh man.
I'm okay. It's all right. Damn it.
What are you trying to do?
Trying to bring Discord over.
So I guess with the
It's not
inclusion of Discord and websites like Roll20, etc., is it really truly a tabletop game, or has it transcended the genre? You decide. As the exposition gives us plenty of time to pull up the information in which we need to do this.
Right there.
Yeah, I totally spaced. I was like, wait, I need an article. And then we were already introducing ourselves. I was like, crap, I need the article.
Oh, I forgot to hit the record on this. Whoops. Oh, we learn.
I mean, it's already being uploaded. So, oh my gosh.
Should I download a dice roller app on my phone?
No,
While we
Forgot
wait.
My
Yeah, you're
dice.
fine.
Okay, just checking.
I may have you do a random number.
I mean, we also do have
A D20.
a D20 right here.
So, first question, have you guys,
Natural 2.
first question, have you guys heard of D&D?
Yes.
Yes.
D and what?
You know what? You keep it up.
All right, so we're gonna go back to the three guy thing. All right, it's been great.
Oh, that was me.
So distracted.
So distracted. This is my first episode alone, so it's actually I don't remember if this is the first. I think I might have.
No,
done
you
one
did
more.
the
You've
Plant
done-
obsolescence.
Yeah, you've done like 2.
Which you can check out on our any streaming service we got. You're listening to us on. It's one of our early episodes. I don't remember which number.
I want to probably say about 5 or 6. Yeah, maybe 4.
Listen to all.
Four is remakes.
4 is remixed. Then I think it was probably 5. So D&D is a game that pretty much every game that we have nowadays is based off of. Anything that you consider role playing can stem from D&D. From the majority of our genres of fantasy games and all this stuff, it was a game developed by original designer by Gary Gygax and Dave. Oh my gosh, Emerson. So this game was a game that they did that they actually published in their own house. So every copy of this game that they had was in Gary's. I think his son said in their front room. So the first initial run was 1,000 games. They had a 1,000 box set of some of the other games, of everything to pretty much play this game. I'm trying not to read too much off of this, but we'll go. So Dungeons and Dragons is a fantasy tabletop role-playing game originally designed by Gary Gygax and Dave Emerson. It was first published in 1974 by Tactical Studies Rules Incorporated. It has been published by Wizards of the Coast since then, associated with Hasbro, since 1997. The game was diversed with miniature war games with a variant
Derived
miniature
war games.
Let me make this a little bit bigger. This font on TV is not so well. Derived. And a variant in 1971 game called Chainmail, serving as the initial game system. D&D's publication is commonly recognized as the beginning of the modern role-playing games and the role-playing games industry. So pretty much Skyrim, anything, Fable, anything that has that story aspect, this is pretty much where everything now what we considered role-playing comes from. This the reason why I kind of wanted to do an episode on this is because this does touch base with a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
And it's not even like your standard, people of like what you would consider normies or, there are actually famous actors that come from this game. And this is the game that actually drove them to be who they are. And very famous for that is actually Vin Diesel.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
His movie, The Witcher. Have you guys seen that?
Wait,
Or
The Witcher?
Or not The Witcher. The Last Witch Hunter, I believe it is. That character in there is actually based off of his D&D character. And so when he got the rights to, or when he started to do his, what's it called? His movie industry, because a lot of this was he wrote and did that movie, or I think directed it. I can't remember everything off of it. My mind has so much knowledge; it's hard sometimes. That character is loosely based off of it, and then Joe, I hate his last name.
Manganiello?
Yeah. Manganiello, best known for Magic Mike, Deadshot in the Zack Snyder cut, bunch of different movies.
Mm-hmm.
He actually just recently designed and works with Wizards on a new module. Actually helped write it. He's pushed a lot of the stuff to the forefront. He actually runs a game in his basement that is designed like a dungeon.
Yeah, I've seen videos of that, and it is intense. Like, I would love to even just see it in person. It's insane.
Yeah, it. Oh gosh, wrong one.
That's on there,
Handsome guy.
Yeah, when I realized he was Deathstroke, oh man, I was so excited. So this is for the viewers to kind of see.
yeah. It's like a legit dungeon.
Yeah. So his room, this was a house that he bought, him and his wife. It had a wine cellar in it. And he pretty much converted it to this.
Was that the Big Show?
Yep.
Yes.
Big Show is also huge into D&D.
Yes. And that's the thing is, like, this game has touched so many lives that you don't even expect, that it's something that brings true to my heart. So there have been several different versions of it. The original, what a lot of people call original D&D, ODD. Then in 1994, there was the original. And then 1977, the base set version 1 came out. In 1977, an additional set came out called Advanced D&D, ADD. Newer mechanics, little bit different variant. And I actually have a friend who's played in, I think this was the first system, way different than what we have nowadays system. Then you have the base, a bunch of the base sets came out. ADD2 came out. In 2000, 3rd edition came out. So 3rd edition was the new stepping stone to D&D. This was when the initial company that Irishguy had actually closed down, and Wizards bought the rights to them. With D&D, there's another famous game that actually stemmed from this. It's called Magic the Gathering. Have you guys heard of this?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to fill the room here. The people can't hear you say, you're evil. Like, really, Ronnie? Really?
Really, Ronnie? Really?
Okay, thank you.
You got four decks right there.
D&D actually, so during the time of downtime, Magic the Gathering, Irishguy actually created that to play in between downtimes. So when you had a break, it was a game for you guys to play down.
Like Gwent.
Yeah. So this game, I'm trying to, let's see here.
He's trying to find a segue.
Yeah, I'm trying to not occupy so much time. So the overall play of D&D is a structured yet fundamentally open-ended gameplay role play game. It is normally played indoors with participants seated around a table.
Kind of like we are now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which future content. Typically, one player takes the role of the DM, which later on has evolved over times, which with newer games and other games is called the GM. He is the role that will put players through the story. So you have players, and then you have what we call in the industry now NPCs, non-player characters.
Like Free Guy.
Like
Yeah.
free. Oh my gosh! Don't get me started.
Might
on
not
that.
always be.
Have you
as
guys seen that
cool,
yet?
But,
Yes, I've seen that
Friendly gesture.
catchphrase.
We get so inexplicably distracted.
But this is the thing.
Squirrel.
The group So the DM puts everybody. He creates a scenario, puts them through rigorous tasks. Originally, this game was based off of dungeons. The whole object was to go to the dungeons. You have a class or a character, because back then the characters were actually different. You didn't have a class; you actually had a character. Class kind of came later on, and from my understanding, you talk about somebody that could get killed really easy. A wizard was very squishy. But
I was gonna say I take offense to such facts.
Oh no, they were more squishy than now.
Yeah.
But with D&D, you take the party. You have the party made up of different characters. You run them through the dungeon, and then later on, there's a system introduced to where you'd actually have to adventure back to the town and make. Occasionally, you'd have a random encounter and stuff like that. This game was actually based off 2 different game systems. I can't remember. I think they describe in here, but I'm not going to troubleshoot that for spending more time. It was based off 2 different games. One game that was a strategic military game that when this game started to really pick up, it was hard to find that other game that it was based off of. And I think I don't remember. It might be later on about the mechanics. Here we go. Yeah, you guys can read it if you want. So jumping forward through a lot of this time of D&D, in the 90s when this kind of started picking up, Wizards of the Coast kind of took over. This game, or no, actually I think it was late 80s. A lot of people say that this game was devil worship. And
The Satanic Panic.
Yep.
That's
And
what they called it.
It's catchy.
what's that, Mom? Ooh, let me go. People thought a lot of they were down in their basement worshiping the devil with this, and a lot of this was to occupy those kids that nowadays who got us where we are now in computers, into actually a lot of acting. A lot of our movies and all of that stuff came from stories of like this.
Role playing. I mean, it's kind of in the name.
Yeah. And that's what a lot of people don't understand, is that coming from a different point of view of it, it's like, do you know all those movies that you watch and everything? What is that actor doing? They're role playing.
Satan worship.
They're saying, every time, man, I'm going to go see that Satan movie. What are you talking about?
See it. I'm cutting off. You shall not pass.
We do not condone Satan worship. We condone.
We're
hold
not
on.
commenting on that in general.
Hold on. I mean,
I don't. But also, I don't believe in that. So let's move on.
You're the one that brought it up.
For the
Right.
sake of science, we will move on.
So
for the sake of the church.
all right. So I'm going to kind of switch up our agenda here a little bit. We're going to go into the questions.
All right.
So, and the reason why I want to do the questions a little bit, because then after the break, we're going to talk kind of about our experiences and everything kind of leading up off of this, and just your general understanding and where you first started. So we're going to go around the table, starting with David.
Ooh.
So I'm going to read out the question, and then we'll go around.
Okay.
When did you start playing Dungeons and Dragons?
He's not even paying attention.
Well, you go first.
I know.
listening.
I looked at you because I was like, that was my answer. Because Zach was actually the one of 2, if not one of 3 people that introduced me to the game.
Yeah.
And it was in my apartment. We I don't remember when exactly. It was just before the pandemic, or sometime
No,
before.
It was. I remember this fairly vividly. It was in the early half of 2019, and we had been talking about it for a fair bit of time. But we finally organized a game. This was back when you could see people in person consistently.
There was a paper made in 1775 that says you can see people no matter what.
That was 76.
Whatever.
I mean, the paper might have been made in 75, but they didn't write on it till later.
Touche.
Thank you.
But, yeah, so we finally got that going up. I want to say maybe March. It was roughly March.
It's hard for me to remember because, like, the
So
world we live in, but that was when I first started playing it. We had talked about it, but I was shown kind of the ropes.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
So that kind of answers the first and second question for you guys.
For me.
Well,
Yeah, for him.
yeah. So Mike, kind of the second question. How did you get introduced to the game, and who introduced you? So we'll kind of do both of them together.
Okay.
So-
So I think it was either you or Wolf that introduced me to it. Because I think
I think it was probably both of us.
I think it was both of you because I was going to your guys' game just to check it out when Irwell was running your game back at the old shop. And God, I don't know, that was like 2000 and
Probably 6 or
no, it was like 08 maybe.
probably, yeah.
But yeah, so that's when I was first introduced to it, but I didn't like start playing it until probably 2010.
Sounds
it was a
about
couple
right.
years after that. 'Cause, like our buddy Irwo, who
All right, we'll get there.
yeah.
That's the second part.
The short version of it is it's that difficult to get a game consistently going.
Yes.
yeah.
And then for me, I didn't start when I first actually started playing it was with David. Back then, roughly March 2019, roughly. But as far as being introduced, like I'd known about it for years, but the hardest part was finding a group that you to play with, because I'd hear people or friends talking about it when I was at American River, and but there was never a game open. So I was like, oh, whatever. I don't even care anyway. It's a stupid game. But finally brainwashed enough of my friends to want to actually play it.
Yeah. So for you guys, whenever it was that you guys brought me into that game,
Yeah.
I ordered a game mat because I just pulled up my Amazon order thing. June 10th of 2019, and you guys were playing a little bit before then. So
Yeah, we I want to say it kind of stopped around a little after my will eventually be brother-in-law moved away for my sister's college because she ended up moving out of city pretty far. So we kind of had to stop after that. And then I don't think we finished the leg of the campaign.
Yeah, I had drawn up some campaigns for us to play, and we got through some of them. But, like, when the pandemic really started to, like, stay home kind of deal, it became very difficult to, like, meet up.
Yeah,
And then-
Discord wasn't really working for everybody.
Mike, if you want to touch base on here, sorry for having you cut a little bit since these guys went in a little bit more.
okay.
Do you remember your first kind of experience with it?
I think the first time I played might have been at KublaCon.
Okay.
Because you guys were like, "Hey, Irwo's he's running a game. He's been running
Yeah.
the same campaign at the con for years, and he's like, you don't have to worry about making a character. You just go in there, you get a character, and you just pick up where the campaign left off before. But he's one that has so much of like world built and everything.
Yeah. you
You good
gotta
over there?
push through it.
He said Khan, and I thought of Star Trek when he's like, Khan. But instead of you saying Khan, it's Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm getting there.
So I started playing in probably, I want to say it was well beyond before I had my kid. So I want to probably say 2006 or, 2005 or 2006. And I was introduced by my friend Eric and my other friend Brooks. They both, Eric has a very extensive world, and
Yeah, he does.
and it was a game that first started off with 6 of us. Or no, sorry, I lied. My first game was actually with our friend Noah. I was, I forgot about that game. Yeah, we played in his house. First introduction, it was still Eric and Brooks that were like, hey, one of our friends is running a game. Do you want to come and play? And I'm like, sure, why not? And that was my first introduction to D&D. All right, second question. Third question. What version of D&D did you start off with or have played?
Version 5 for me.
5? Okay.
Yeah.
5.
Version 5. It would be 5th edition.
5th edition.
Okay, you know what?
No,
If you're just,
5E.
you just answered question
Yes.
whatever.
We'll get there.
Ooh.
No, anyway, for me, I started on 3.5.
Yep.
And it has been simplified a lot. And it is I like both. It'd be
Yeah. So 3.5. So this is one of the versions of D&D. Can we just get a D&D?
I think it was
Which
on
up
their webpage. I remember seeing 3.5 on there under versions.
D&D
Yeah,
one.
no. It's just do a logo. Yeah.
the big D&D.
Oh,
A
the
big middle one. Or that.
Give them the big D
The big.
and D.
Continuing.
I don't know how to make that.
Here, let me figure that
you
out
do
for you.
So I've third edition was pretty cool edition, but there was a lot of complications with it, a lot of mechanics that weren't worked out. Eventually they released 3.5, which fixed a lot of mechanics. There were still a lot of problems, but it was more streamlined, fixed a lot of bugs and everything. That's how much issues they had with third edition that they had to release a half edition to fix it. Going on, we'll go with you, Zach, first. What type of character do you typically like to play? Race, class?
Type, I generally gravitate
damn it.
towards magic, as David is painfully aware.
Mm-hmm.
As far as race, I guess like high elf or what. It really depends on the class, but generally,
Some type of sorcery.
yeah,
Gotcha.
I'm at least a little bit of a min maxer.
Yeah. Mike?
Well, as you know, I either do human fighter or ranger.
Yep.
Because I like to smash shit and I like to shoot shit.
Yeah.
So I unwittingly and ironically I created either the perfect version of myself or the complete opposite. I'm usually a dwarven rogue. So yeah, I'm usually a dwarven rogue. I don't know why I wanted to be a rogue, but they're like, rogues are usually muy poquito. And so I was like, all right, I guess I'll be a dwarf. So that's usually mine.
Okay. I have played a very wide range of characters. My first character was actually a halfling rogue, Syl the Mighty. There's a pretty decent story behind that, which we'll touch base on later. I've played a fighter. I've built monks, Clefairy, which was a 3-fingered monk. I, over the years I've played, I have very.
You've had a lot of.
I've had a lot of characters, a lot of story with them. I've played as sorcerer Iserlin, who dabbled in magic of light and dark. Dealing with the story that, like I said, with our friend Erwell, his story is very fleshed out. So with characters, I've played a wide range of characters.
Like his story is fleshed out to the point that he has binders that would fill this bookcase multiple times for his world.
And he's actually gone through and cleaned out a bunch of stuff. So, okay, next question. Do you think this reflects upon your personality? David's already kind of answered that.
Kind of, because, like, I always play... So I was chaotic neutral. That was, like, someone who didn't mind making havoc.
Lies,
What?
lies and slander.
What?
Chaotic neutral.
Yeah, that was my role.
You got the chaotic part right. I don't know about
Definitely chaotic.
I got the chaotic neutral part right.
Chaotic
A little bit
good.
evil.
What? Do you disagree too?
What?
I saw you shake your head.
No, to him.
So I thought my personality was accurate, because a lot of the times it involved me asking the DM. So, like, one of the times he was playing.
Yeah, my first time DMing, I had to deal with him.
So I asked if one of
that's
my
right.
bigger tankish guys can pick me up and throw me. You know, if it wasn't in a tree or at the goblin or something.
It was over. So we were running a module since it was my first game, and the module's like it's an impassable thing, and he's like, but like it was a peninsula kind of thing, so you could go around it, and he's like, can I just have the I think it was the fighter. He's like,
I think
can
it was
just
a
have,
dragonborn fighter.
yeah. He's like, can I just have him pick me up and throw me? And I'm like, roll a 20. I'm like.
It's feasible.
And then I don't remember what he hit, but he rolled something high, and I'm like, so it happened. But I was
Story of a
like,
GM.
yeah, I was first time, and then he's like, can I do this? Can I do this? And I'm like,
So, give a little premise on this. I forgot to mention this. I'm sorry. I'm not well prepared. I've had a busy week. So D&D, you actually go through the game. You have base stats. Before you have an armor stat, the way to determine something is roll a dice, and you depending on the stat, you got a bonus or a negative to it. In the newer versions, they simplified that a lot compared
a lot easier.
to before. Like in 3rd edition, you went from like 20 plus skills down to now, which you have maybe, I think it's like 12, maybe a little bit more than that. I can't remember off the top of my head, but they simplified a lot more stuff. And so as a DM, when you're the dice roll, a natural 20 is typically you roll a 20-sided die, you add your bonus to that. When you roll a natural 20, that means that's the very best. Depending on what you're doing, you're either going to succeed at it. If you roll a 1, that's a critical fail, and something happens. So depending on your GM, depending on the story, it varies from that.
All right, and before you go too much further, I pulled up the 3. Since they're both familiar with 5th edition.
Yeah.
I pulled up the 3.5 character sheet. So just so you can see how, I mean, it's not the greatest quality, but just so that's all the skills. And then that's all.
Pull it up.
So that's all the skills there versus what it was. And
I
then
remember seeing one of those at this place I used to work at. Back when 5th just came out, they were playing that edition, and yeah, it was pretty rough. 3.5?
Yeah.
You're not typing. Oh, there it goes.
Yeah, I wasn't typing yet. I was thinking what I wanted to write.
So that was
I don't have a mouse though.
Mike.
Oh yeah. Wait, you said something. Oh yeah. So for numbers, especially like 0 through 20 and 30. So 0 is terrible, obviously.
Yeah.
10 is like basic mortal human. 20 is like the peak of humanity and mortal, And then anything between 20 and 29 is supposed to be like deity, like demigods or something in that realm. And then 30 up is like gods.
Yeah, so levels of a character depending on your class. Typically, you level with your. Now you have a class and you level with that class. You do have the chance to multi-level, which means you choose another class and go from there. I am so well unprepared. I'm sorry about this, guys and audience. Typically, with the classes, so the initial classes were rogue. Barbarian, fighter, rogue, druid, cleric, wizard, sorcerer, and ranger. Later on, they add multiple more classes depending on the supplement that you had. And now we actually have a lot more classes, including warlock. I think there's one more in there too, that you can choose from the base classes. And then the races, the majority of the races that you got to play were human, half elf, half orc, halfling, dwarf, and elf. Now in the newer edition, they've added and gnome. Sorry, and then everybody forgets gnomes. And then they added a few other classes. I know the newer one that I think of predominantly is Dragonborn and Tieflings are the two newer races that are considered base races. Before in the older editions, you actually had to, like, if you were a different race, you actually leveled that race versus now where you choose that race and then you get stats based off of that race. And then in the older games, 3rd edition, 5th edition, or 3.5, you actually got a negative to stuff too, to your stats.
Yeah, if at least in 5th edition, if your your base stat for any of your 6 core attributes, strength, charisma, intelligence, wisdom, dexterity, and constitution, if it's less than 10, you get a minus. To any dice rolls that have any relevance to that, and any stats that are relevant to it as well.
I honestly feel bad. I should just had a character sheet up here as we go through the whole thing.
Anybody want this back, or am I hanging on to it? I'm okay either way. I just don't want to be stingy.
So your base stats running into like.
I think we're getting a little off track on the question.
Well, it's also talking about D&D just so everybody understands. So you have your physical saving throws, your Constitution saving throws, and your Wisdom saving throws. So con, of course. Agility is depending on how flexible you are and everything, and then your wisdom is depending on how strong-willed you are versus mind effects and stuff like that. Strength or fort saves are typically, which are your con saves, are typically you eat a spider or you're poisoned. You had bad fish stew.
Weather.
There's a reference in one of our games about fish stew. Physical is how how strenuous is it for you to lug this person around, pull this rock, that type of stuff, how long you're doing that for. Throughout the game, we can talk more about skills and everything, but it will just be a very long podcast after that. Getting back to personality reflections, Mike.
For me, I'm not the greatest at role playing, as I'm sure you're aware.
I don't know what you're talking about. You're the best.
Said nobody ever.
I did. You're the best.
He just called you nobody.
I am nobody.
Anyway, so I'm not really the greatest at role playing, so like I try to, but then I just kind of play myself. Eventually, so
And the role you were made to play.
And that's typically what a ranger and a fighter are. They're just like very simple characters that just
Whack shit.
shoot that, move that. You know, it.
Yeah.
Not everybody has to be an edgelord.
Yep.
I have an idea I want to run by you guys at the end of this.
Okay, Zach.
Yeah, I guess that would reflect pretty well on my personality.
What, a goddamn pain in the ass? Yeah, it does.
I love you too. Mainly playing magical classes. I definitely do enjoy that. Magic's pretty cool in real life, but I don't actually know any of it. But yeah, I'd say it reflects upon my personality. Not the best at role playing per se, but
Egotistical.
I don't know about that.
You better prepare
No.
for the last two
Yeah,
questions.
okay.
'Cause-
David had it right. Pain in the ass.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
But it definitely reflects on you as well. I just want
We'll get there.
I just want to
We'll get there.
one quote, not from you, but from a meme I saw. It was about a woman giving birth in a D&D world, and the doctor came up and said, "Ma'am, your baby was safely delivered, but I do have some bad news." And she responds, "Well, what is it?" And he said, "I regret to inform you, but he's a rogue." And then she just, no, but I'm too young to die. And the doctor responds, "Well, you know the rules," and pulls out the dagger.
That's awesome. For me, actually, I don't even realize typical characters I play. I play a majority of characters. I like playing a rogue. It's just the stealthy background and stuff, the sneakiness. I've been trying to play. It just depends on the character, really, for me, and the race and stuff. If I had to choose, it would be hard for me to choose because every character has its flaws and stuff like that. My initial character, yes, did influence my personality, which was a halfling ranger or rogue, not a ranger.
Yeah, halfling ranger.
All right, next question. Do you think there's a social stigma to play D&D?
This one is a two-parter, I think. But I'll let you guys go first.
Are you asking peer-to-peer playing the same game, or are you asking as like general
Society.
Society,
Okay,
yeah.
that changes my answer.
I think you can comment on both.
I could, but I'm gonna wait till the last two questions.
Okay.
So, not anymore. I mean, like if you think about D&D back in like the 90s when toxic masculinity was at its peak, yes. Because it was the nerdy thing to do. It was the geeky thing to do, right?
On top of the stigma about like not social worshiping,
Social
Satan
Satan
worshiping.
Yeah. So like the stigma back then, yeah. Now, I don't think there's as much, if any, because like you named off Vin Diesel, Joe
Stephen
Manganiello, the Big Show.
Yep, Stephen Colbert.
Stephen Colbert, also Terry Crews.
Terry,
he's
Terry.
So let's look at Terry Crews, Steve Manganiello, and Vin Diesel. These are statistically, in a society standpoint, very attractive, big like bravado type men playing something that once upon a time was frowned upon because nerdy weak kids would play it.
Yep.
That's how it was viewed versus now everybody's freaking doing it.
Yeah.
I mean
all four of us have done it.
right.
That doesn't
Phrasing.
Yeah.
We're probably considered the
nerd.
typecasting before.
Aren't we like super jock? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
played
my
football once.
bow-legged ass. Yeah, I'm a jock.
oh yeah.
So I'm saying no.
I agree.
Yeah, so you pretty much touched on the earlier back in the day stuff. I think part of the reason it's so socially acceptable now compared to what it was around, Satanic Panic,
Yeah.
is partially due to Stranger Things. That brought it to the forefront, but just before that was Critical Role.
Yeah.
Which was on Geek and Sundry, and I mean now they're making it a TV show. Which, by the way, did you back the campaign?
Yes, I'm waiting for it to release on Amazon.
Did you get your backer stuff? Mine came
Yes.
in the mail. Okay.
Yes.
So, yeah, I think Critical Role had a huge Critical Role and the Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Helped a lot.
Yeah,
'Cause,
helped
I mean,
break down some of the preconceived notions about it.
They sell it at Target.
Yeah,
Like
it's crazy.
the Essentials Kit and the Beginner's Guide to D&D or something.
Yeah, it definitely was originally heavily stigmatized, demonized, as we talked about previously, and it's definitely come a long way, becoming practically mainstream. They released a Dungeons and Dragons video game. I don't know what consoles it's on, but it's definitely on Xbox One. They've come just the latest one. They've come out with a few different ones by Wizards of the Coast, video game wise, and it's nice to see that the stigma has most certainly lessened. Is it gone completely? No, of course not. There's still groups that have it demonized or otherwise shunned as a nerd subculture or full culture. But it's definitely to the point where it's practically not stigmatized as far as I've encountered in my life, and it's pretty nice. It's about time.
Yep. With that, we are getting close to break time. We are going to take our first break. Can I pass it off to David?
You heard the man. We're going to take our first Anchor break. Anchor being the podcast service that we currently use to distribute to literally every podcast site you could think of. Take this time, refill your glasses, get a bite to eat, do whatever you got to do, but make sure you come back to Level 4 XP. We're going to continue this talk about D&D. So we'll be right back. All right, everybody, welcome back to the episode. Continuing this talk about D&D and that thereof. Thank you, Anchor, for distributing the podcast, and I hope you enjoyed that Anchor ad. I'm going to let Doc continue with a series of questions on the topic of Dungeons and Dragons, and for all you nerds out there, this one's for you. Doc, take it away.
All right, next question. Kind of just getting right back into it. Have you met anybody who does not conform to the stereotype? Have you guys actually, from my experience to you guys, it really seems like you haven't experienced much as in terms of D&D.
No, because like when you guys start talking about like Kubla Khan,
yeah,
that is, I feel like the next evolution in D&D outside of at least what I'm used to.
Yeah.
We need to get you guys to Kubla Khan, if it's able to happen next year, which
the plan is
to happen. It's been a few years since I've been, but it's not just D&D. It's all sorts of different games.
I would have to get you the link, but side note with this, KubaCon is planned for next year. It is, I think they are doing a ticket limit just because of how busy and then with everything. So I will get you guys the link. I will put the link down in the description for anybody who would like to check that out.
Sounds good.
Cool.
So pretty much, for the most part, you guys haven't really your stereotypical nerdy. You haven't really seen like a jock or somebody like play D&D.
Not particularly. I think we've kept our circle pretty much. It fits the mold per se.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, even for the stereotype, like, most people I've played with or I know play have at least like a little bit in there, but nobody really fully like adheres to the stereotype.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, being nerdy is one thing, but
And then nowadays, like we've mentioned before, with all the main actors and stuff, what's a stereotype now?
yeah,
Before there was a stereotype. A lot of these questions I got were actually from probably, I think, 2010, 2012. So even over that generation, over these last, 8 to 10 years, stuff has changed so much with this game and genre that, D&D now is really mainstream.
Well, not to make a joke here, but think of the okay boomer type attitude that it had, because like back then when D&D in the 70s, back when the idea of it like became an iteration, we were in the middle of Korean War, Vietnam War. You had a lot of those people who were like the get off my lawn type individuals.
Yeah.
Right. And they looked at things like this as Satan worship and a waste of time.
Yeah.
And now we are in a society that is so much more socially acceptable to avenues like this. I mean, look how many people watched Game of Thrones.
Yeah. True. Moving on to the next question. Unless you guys had any more input on that.
no, it's just nice how the stereotype almost doesn't really exist anymore outside of a maybe not so fond memory of past depressions.
True.
Yeah.
What if someone else read that?
Differentiates.
D&D from other games.
A lot of math.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very nice. Very nice.
Wait, nice.
Yeah, I mean, I did calculus. It wasn't that bad.
Nerd.
And then, so this
We're talking about D&D.
so this is the thing was like
Shut up, Four Eyes.
this is the thing is like when I was playing in your game, I mentioned there's a service called D&D Beyond, which pretty much your characters, everything's done for you. You roll your die, everything's there. It's a lot easier as before where you play pen and paper or paper and pencil. It is a lot more math keeping, but you guys played 5th edition. In 3rd edition or 3.5, you talk about math keeping. You had buffs from different effects, and certain buffs didn't stack with certain buffs. So
The math was complicated.
You had to have a spreadsheet, it sounds like.
So you think
You
think
saw
of
the
it.
character sheet.
yeah,
It
it was calculus in 3.5.
yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy. So like, it's funny hearing you guys talk about math. I'm like, a lot of people don't understand. 3.5 was math.
We should get a 3.5 game going.
I have all
Got
the
these
books.
Algebra 2 students looking at us complain about our geometry
Right.
homework.
Yeah, I got my bag of books out in the garage.
For the record, I failed math.
So did I.
No, math failed you.
True. What is there a particular experience playing the game that stands out to you in your mind? David? Mike?
Real quick before you do
David
that,
is turned off
are you all right?
I'm thinking.
or has shut down.
I just wanted to say about the whole differentiates D&D from other games, but
Yeah.
also the freedom. Not only from the player's perspective, like getting tossed over something that otherwise the little guy wouldn't have been able to the DM side, being able to go on the fly, not being held up by constraints on like a software level.
Yeah.
But on that note, I'll give it back to you.
I was just gonna say any of the campaigns because like I stole a quest line from Fable to make as one of my, one shots, and I don't think anybody caught. I think it wasn't until Jeremy.
Yeah.
He caught onto it and he stared at me like he stares at people when he's super annoyed.
So all the time.
Yeah, pretty much. And I think that when I get to DM and make, after that, I've created a whole like world for these guys to explore. And for me, what stands out is watching these guys kind of go through my world, and see what they want to do, who they want to talk to, and who they decided to build relationships with. Because like if it's a character, if it's an NPC that I don't even think about, they're building a relationship with. Well, now I gotta go back and go. I gotta make this guy important somehow.
Yeah.
And and then there's times when like they caught me on it, but like there's this one time, one of the campaigns I had, there's an evil version and a good guy version, and you pass this guy, and he's I stole him, Cicero from Dungeons and Dragons with the wagon wheel. So like they walk by him and they help him, right? Well, in my evil campaign, they walk by and they're just like, "Well, I want to kill this guy." Or no, he tried to attack you guys, and then you killed him, right? And like I that's when I started to confuse like my own timelines and shit.
Okay, I gotta ask: did the evil ones have mustaches?
No. So that's kind of what sucked, because like the campaign I made for the evil one,
All right, we'll get into pretty much for you from a D&D point, or because you did GM, it was kind of the story base that you were trying to drive for them.
Yeah, and they were like a lot of their characters' abilities and stuff that they did when they completed a major campaign, or when they sat through 4 hours of D&D. I rewarded them in the next part. When I thought of something else in my head, like for who was it? Was it Devontae or you who was the ice something or other?
Ice? I don't. Devontae was an Eric Cochran fighter, I think.
So one of them ended up owning the bar in the town that they started.
Yeah, Devontae.
And he created this like in the ground, like this cellar of ice to keep his stuff.
Gotcha.
And it was little things like that was pretty cool.
Okay.
All right. So for me, you were in this game. It was when Jesse was running the game in his grandparents' garage, holding to the stereotype because we don't have basements here.
Yep. Garage games.
And my character was we rolled for traits and flaws, and I was dark touched or evil touched or something like that.
I think dark touched.
And I got like we went off the trail of where he wanted us to go, and he created this monster. You know where I'm going, right?
Yeah.
He created this monster. I think he called it like a Laronx or something like that. Just kind of made it up off the top of his head.
Kind of touch base of it. Our friend's Jesse's world was actually fairly based on World of Warcraft. So a lot of his characters and creatures and stuff are based out of World of Warcraft.
Yeah. So
you steal from the best.
Long story short, my character ended up getting eaten by this thing. Mm-hmm. And then I don't remember the exact details, but he had me roll, and I had to have hit a nat 20 for it to happen. And then the dark touch that I had in me just kind of like erupted, and I basically blew this giant monster up from within. And
so you went the Taco Bell route.
Kind of, sort of, yeah. But that is probably the thing that stands out to me
the most
with the game, because that was like the most badass moment in my D&D playing experience.
So for me,
all right, let's see
this
the.
guy's got a top five.
I have a top 3 list. Oh, there we go. All right, yeah, I have about.
I swear to God, if I'm on this list anywhere,
you're on this list at least 2 of these. It's not you directly, but you were there. Well, actually, one of these is you. So the first was the very first one shot that we ever ran that I was the DM for, and the very I think it was the first or second battle when you guys were going through the woods. You were the scout ahead because you were a halfling rogue, and there was 2 wolves, regular, or actually they were actually a little weaker because I scaled them down. 2 wolves that you guys fought, and you guys just got the worst rolls in history. Jeremy kept tripping, I think. Devontae fell down twice. They almost got taken out by 2 wolves at half strength. As a party of, was it 3 or 4 of you guys?
4.
Yeah, it was a party of 4 against 2 regular wolves with some shrubbery, so there was like half cover, and the wolves were like wolves, so like it covered them completely. Just that little bit of variance and just the worst rolls. I almost got a TPK.
Yep.
For one of the easiest battles in history.
So
and they won't let me live that down.
a TPK is terms of a total party kill.
Yeah.
Pretty much you kill the entire party, no one survives.
I wasn't trying to do that, but I was also trying to I didn't want to fudge any of the rolls. But I think Jeremy got 4 ones in a row, right? Or was it 6?
First question, is this a level, are these level 1 characters?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So squishy. I had a feeling when he was telling me he almost
It was
killed.
so bad.
As a DM, you typically figure out.
The game I was running for them, kind of the same thing. It was something simple, and I'm like, okay, let's cut their health down.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we had a mechanism where if you got a critical 1, it was a critical failure, and there was an extra layer to it, depending on context of what you were doing. Like people falling down or accidentally hitting your ally that was right next to the target or stuff like that, or hitting yourself. Your favorite was getting the weapon stuck in like a tree or the ground, and you had to spend an action to pull it out. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that was... That was one. The other one was I wasn't the DM. Our good host over here, Game Boy, was, and it was a boss battle against. It was, I can't remember his name, but it was the Lord, the evil guy, and this was like the second to last boss battle with him. So it was the first real boss battle against the guy, and at that time we just reached level 5, I want to say, or either that or I just got 5th level spell slot. So I had a spell, I believe it was called Maximilian's Earthen Grasp. And for those of you that don't know what that is, it's a continuous spell, so a channeling spell that can last, I think, a minute in game. So 6 rounds. And
10 rounds.
Or 10 rounds, sorry. Yeah, because every is 6 seconds. Yeah, I had the backwards. So 10 rounds, and as long as I don't get hit or I don't try and cast another spell, I keep it. So anyways, so I what I did was I cast it, and because the boss was a regular human size, I just kept grabbing him. So he was always grappled. He couldn't do anything, so he constantly had to try and break out. And anytime he broke out, my next turn, I would just grasp him. And I pretty much always succeeded. I had him for 10 rounds straight, pretty much, where he couldn't do anything. And
This sounds so familiar.
that's because you were the DM for this one.
Well, I figured. but
And
like,
you went after that. You went out of your way to target.
can I just go ahead and answer this question?
Hold on.
And then the final one, and I think you're gonna love this one because you were this was the final boss battle of all of our campaigns. This was when my brother, or soon to be brother-in-law, he had a giant cheese wheel on him. And you want to tell this one?
Story.
You want to tell this one? I feel like.
No, go ahead, because I'm pretty sure that. Go for it.
Chime in at any moment.
I don't remember it.
Yeah,
fully.
so he pulled out a cheese wheel that he had when we were fighting a nerf down Tarasque. I think I
Trask or whatever.
yeah, the supposed to be like the most pain in the ass enemy, immune to like everything, magic wise. So as I said, he started targeting me after that other boss battle, and this was just the culmination of it. But I at that time I knew he would do that, so I started investing in teleportation stuff. So I just got the hell out. So yeah, I can't remember exactly what it was, but he rolled a critical 20 on rolling the cheese to distract him, I think. And like it's just like a dog going after it, just like
Squirrel.
yeah, it was amazing. And we won in the end. Much to our DM's dismay.
Next question.
All right, that was my last one.
Okay. So I still have to say my experience.
He's got a top 5 list.
Oh, I'm not even going to go with the top 5. I'll give a few. So my very, very first character playing the game, this is where Syl the Mighty came in. His name was Rectal Silitol.
You said erectile?
No, Ractal Cititol.
I thought that was like an ED joke.
No. It was actually a random name generator.
Oh, okay.
Actually, no, I think it might have been in the book. Because in 3.5, they actually gave you suggestions for some names and stuff, I think.
I think they still do that in 5.
Yeah. And so that, I think, was kind of some of the names that I chose from. So the name was so hard to say. So I just started saying, call me Syl. Use my last name. With that, we're in counter. A bunch of us were trying to get into a keep. And we had to bust open the door. So I was a halfling ranger. No, I don't remember. I was a halfling rogue, but I was a halfling rogue with a repeating crossbow. So just all right, we got to get in. We got to get in there. The orc couldn't get through the door, so failed on his roll to bust open the door. I was like, okay, can I try? So my GM's like, okay, roll. Natural 20. So the whole story is I bust open the door and send the guy flying. And so the orc there started calling me, or with 2 of the other characters there too, they started calling me Syl the Mighty because it was just the effect of me being a small halfling busting open the door. And
you came in like a wrecking ball.
Pretty much before there was a wrecking ball. And so that was my first character. And so that character eventually moved on in that friend's world. He actually became a underboss, or no, he actually became a underground boss. Much story with that character.
Nice.
Next thing was I've had tons of characters. A few of them I've had characters based off of. Have you guys seen? What's that movie called? Silverado.
Talk about the animated film.
No. It's an older movie. Pretty much a guy is left out for dead by his companions. So my character is kind of based off of that halfling elf. In that world that we play with Eric, his rangers are tanned, so there's a big guild with them. Depending on what tan you had, there's competitions, all that stuff. So he was a tan ranger, but because of what happened to him, I actually survived being shot in the eye. And pretty much all my stuff was magical and everything was stolen from me. So my whole objective was to, like, since Silverado, get all my stuff back. And kill those companions. Well, I'm a ranger, but I'm a secret tanned ranger. So so you have a ranger, and then you have tan rangers. Mm-hmm. And so my tan ranger is pretty high, but I kept it secret because I was ashamed of what happened to me.
Fair enough.
So one of our other guys, Colo, who's played by our friend Trent, he's a ranger too, and he's a tan ranger, and his tan is actually higher than mine. And so we're in the snow fighting. I want to say it was either ogres or trolls. Can't remember, but there was also frost, or it might have been a frost giant and a frost wolves. And in 3.5, it's very brutal. I'm like, excuse me. I'm like, it's just the 2 of us fighting 3 enemies that are higher level than us. As a ranger, I'm like, let's go. But as the new person to the group, because my other character, Kafeli, had just betrayed the party to the big bad guy. So, so I'm already on thin ice. Like me as a person and me as a character are already on thin ice with the group. And so I'm like, I can't just leave him here. So sure enough, we're trying to get out. What does he do? He critical fails. What happens? We're already both passed. I'm passed out because I'm trying to let him get away. Critical fails, shoots me in the throat. So story-wise, what my character has done is I can't rest because I have a mission. I now start hunting Colo. And then he has to fulfill my mission of retaining all my items and put me to rest. So that story is like, it's just so funny. It's like, I'm a ranger too. And then they find out that I'm actually a tanned ranger. And it was just like, what the hell were you doing? Last story, Iserlin. Sorcerer, learning magic, kind of in the same area. Tells a cult, fuck you. Pretty much be gone with you. I don't need to be in your cult. Because at this time we're in Eric's world, every element has a school to it. And so each school had its name. Umbra was fire. And, I think it was Ignis. Kind of like D&D stuff. I think it was Ignis was fire. And I told the cult that was in the city, pretty much screw off, because my character was a sorcerer based off of flames and stuff like that. But the problem was I was a pyromaniac. So I would get entranced by fires. Every time I saw a fire, I had a roll. So there was at one point, the story was that I stared so hard through the fire, and with their guild and thing, they communicated between fire. They used it as a communication. And so I stared so hard that I interrupted somebody's magic. So they came and found me, and I told them to screw off and everything. So a few months later, I go to one of the big guilds, bigger city, big part of the actual guild. I get mesmerized by the fire at the pillars of fire out there. One of those big high mages comes out, and I'm pretty much tell him I'm entranced by this fire. So he turns it off, and he's like, okay, starts talking to me and stuff. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Pretty much screw off. Fuck you.
I think that's 2.
That's 2. But that's pretty much what the character was. He's like, and he's a high level mage. And he's like, oh, hell no, wizard battle, right? Unseen to them, the cult cursed me. Magic has a 10% chance of rebounding. And or magic around me. So we kind of twisted the story a little bit of every time there's magic or something happening, there's a 10% chance of certain magic failing. So he cast a big spell towards me. Spell failed. Turned back against him, incinerated him. And so with that character, there was another time where with fire, so there's Lumen and Umbra, which is light and dark. I had a ring of invisibility. Guess what happens? My ring, I think I cast invisibility. It fails. So I am now stuck between planes pretty much. I'm almost like a ghost. So
weren't you in like the Shadow Realm or something?
No. So I was in I was Loom Room based. Yance was Umbra based.
Oh, okay.
So this is this thing of stories of where, depending on how fleshed out the world is, your characters, we start to mingle with stuff. And so eventually with that character, I fleshed out the whole backstory of the character. There's a big trading company. He was actually part of the trading company. He took over the trading company. He then created his own guild of mixing 2 elements together, which was the Umbra and Lumbra guild. and eventually he became an elemental.
Oh.
And so he moved on from this plane. So depending on stories and stuff like that, it's just that stuff from like what I've, most experiences. I know it took so long, but it's stories like that is what really drives the game, especially even after the game. If you do have characters that do get fleshed out and stuff like that, and the world keeps on going and they become part of that world, I think that's what that's what I love about the experiences of D&D.
Yeah.
So moving on to that, do you think people should play the game?
Yes.
The short answer is yes. The medium answer is they should definitely check it out, look into it, see if it is something they'd like. Especially if you play pretty much any video game where you control an avatar to do something in a world that isn't a real life simulator of your own life. You should definitely at least consider it.
Yeah.
And then the long answer, you're gonna want to sit down.
Oh gosh, I'm gonna turn him off.
Go
ahead.
So I was just thinking, I think everyone should try it, see if it becomes their thing. But I know that if you don't have a very good attention span, or if you don't have a very vivid imagination, playing the game is going to be difficult for you.
Yeah.
Let alone trying to keep track of everything you need to be able to keep track of just in the game alone that involves you.
Yeah.
And if you don't have groups, you can always check out online. There's probably plenty of Discord servers, and you can check Reddit sub-communities about D&D to see if there's people hosting online, Roll20, etc. There's a lot of online material.
We're now in a day of age where the resources to actually play D&D, instead of being here, you can actually play stuff online, and it's a lot more accessible.
Yeah,
and made the game even more accessible than ever before.
Especially after what was going on with COVID.
Yeah.
It definitely fueled the industry of remote, insert whatever subject you want here, across the board.
Yeah. So my kind of medium answer is for the people that aren't sure about it, check out I think it's Geek and Sundry that does Celebrity D&D.
I do not endorse them anymore.
Okay. Anyway, or the TV show Community. They have 2 episodes, Advanced D&D and Advanced D&D.
So those are the older editions that I talked about, and those are a lot. If you've watched those episodes, you notice that those are a lot different than what today's D&D.
Yeah, and they don't.
It's a lot simpler.
Yeah, well, they're also not really playing it how it should be played, but it's kind of getting your feet wet with it, and then you can look up D&D videos on YouTube, or there's people that play on Twitch and stuff like that.
Yeah, as Mike mentioned earlier, one of the biggest groups they stream every Thursday. I want to say 7:00. It's called Critical Role. Right now, they're currently in a sub campaign.
I believe that just ended.
Did it? Yeah, because I know they were mentioning about there's talk about their 3rd campaign coming in, and they do 100+ episodes. First edition, the first season, they took this game. Matt Mercer, who is McCree in Overwatch, unbeknown to the character, he's a very good voice actor. He's played in a lot of games that you'd be surprised on. All these games that he's been a part of. Laura Bailey, who, if you're a big Gears of War fan, she's voiced the last character, and I think maybe 1 or 2 other characters.
And she does a lot of stuff with WoW too, I think.
Yeah, she is. Oh gosh, why did I just space her? Jaina, one of the major key players in World of Warcraft. She voices that.
She's that.
The blonde with the white. Yes, that is Laura Bailey plays her. She actually, her first start was actually Dragon Ball Z. She actually did a voice for, I want to say it was Bulma.
Really?
Yeah, I'd have to relook it up, but she did a lot of voices for Dragon Ball Z. Her husband, which is
Mr. Laura Bailey,
Mr. Lawyer B.
Travis Willingham.
Travis Willingham. He's played he's played a bunch of characters. I can't remember some of them off the top. He does some game voice acting. Then we have Sam Riegel,
Ninja Turtles.
done a lot of Ninja Turtles. Jaffe,
Taliesin Jaffe.
Taliesin Jaffe's done a decent amount of characters. And then you have not Brian. Why am I forgetting
Ashley Johnson.
Ashley Johnson, who's done Last of Us. She's played the forensic scientist on Blind Spot. She was what's her name's little sister in
I think it was Growing Pains.
Growing Pains. Then you have why am I forgetting his name? His name is Daggers.
Liam
Brian. I knew it was Brian was his last name.
It's O'Brien.
O'Brien. if you're very of Naruto, he played Gaara. He was the voice for Gaara. If you're a World of Warcraft fan, he is Illidan. He's played a few other characters in D&D, in WoW. They're all these people voice actors. I know. I'm trying to. Hey, calm down.
So just because we talked about it earlier, Laura Bailey, her debut was at 18, and according to Wikipedia, and it was as Kid Trunks in the Funimation dub of Dragon Ball Z.
Yep. So I knew she played in some characters. I don't remember all of them. Okay, so this is some of you guys. It sounds like all of you guys can mention this. What is the hardest part of playing D&D?
Me first. Killing this son of a bitch.
Thank you.
So, what I wanted to hurry up and get to.
Not from a lack of trying.
No, not at all. A lot of people hated my GM style because going back to your social stigma thing. Going back to the social stigma thing. Fuck you.
Haters gonna hate.
It comes. I had a hard time separating my desire to kill the best player versus like starting a new campaign because all of my campaigns circled around trying to kill Zach because somehow he was either the last one alive or he had all these magic abilities that like wiped out a bunch of people and like it made it real hard for me. So yeah, obviously I kept trying to find more difficult monsters to kill. And I don't know if it was a combination of I didn't know how to play the character that I made him fight or whatever have you, but this guy was that's the most difficult part of, playing D&D.
You know the best characters to kill a wizard? Barbarian.
I would like to say, just cutting in for a second, that I greatly respect you not fudging rolls just to like put me down. You built the world in a way that was really difficult to maneuver. Which is why I'm really glad I focused on longsword, just in case, because it really helped a lot. But I greatly respect you for not cheating, basically, or at least it didn't feel like you cheated.
The other hard part, going back to the good guy bad guy campaign, was keeping my storylines linear and like accurate. Because like the bad guy campaign, if you can't beat him, join him. The bad guy campaign was supposed to be he made a character who like you had to have worship like a something.
Yeah, he was trying to get all the people in his kingdom, if I remember correctly, to basically worship him.
No. So the guy created like he was supposed to. I was going to create him to be the ultimate bad guy, and he created a character that only worshipped someone like a.
Oh, you're talking about my character.
Yeah, your character worship ultimate bad guy was the guy you were supposed to worship.
I have the character sheet on me. Just keep going.
But like it was difficult because like I could never get it everyone else wanted to do their own thing, so I spent a lot of time focusing on them rather than this story that was supposed to be designed for him kind of deal. So, like, there's...
I mean, it's sounding like for you is the hardest.
Yeah.
All right.
And killing that son of a bitch.
Mike?
For me, the hardest thing would be getting into the role.
Mm-hmm.
That and math.
That's fair.
I suck at math.
Understand.
And it's about remembering the formulas, if you will. It's like, oh, for this, it's you got to grab these numbers, and then you got to do this to them, and it's like going back.
Yeah,
into the book.
especially with
3.5.
with 3.5, it was like fifth edition is so much easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They still have a few complications, but for the most
not
part,
the level of it was like you got to add this, add this.
And if you're proficient in this, you get an additional this. And if you're if you have more than 5 ranks in this, you get an additional 3% in this. So like diplomacy.
You had to add percentages.
No.
Wow.
It was
I think
like
that was just
diplomacy. You're depending on the character, you can have diplomacy at plus 20, being like a level 5 character.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's like,
Yeah,
I rolled a 2.
Yes, you may have my panties. Here you go.
Exactly.
yeah. Well, especially with like the stuff that Eric had.
Yeah.
He had like you'd roll traits and flaws. So if you rolled for traits like something that would give you a boost, then there would be flaws that would be something that would be a negative. And you'd have to roll the percentile, and he had a whole chart and everything for that.
Those stories over there now.
No, dude, I'm just writing notes. For myself.
I mean, I have a list. I have the list of traits and flaws. So
Yeah. That's the answer for me.
Yeah. For me, the hardest part would definitely be getting the whole group to have the right schedule and being able to meet consecutively. Though, as a side note, it's not really difficult, but more tedious. And the reason why it was probably so hard to kill me, I spent a lot of time outside of the game, just going through spells and thinking, okay, well, what's the best all-around spell configuration now that I can, I leveled up, I can pick these spells and I can change this many spells in my spell book and stuff like that.
yeah,
So I spent a lot of time. It's a little tedious, but
you're a mid-maxer.
the payout. Well, I had to be because I was literally I was playing a campaign that was designed to
kill you,
take me down. I had to put in at least as much time as he did into it.
Who gave you that thought?
David, since almost the beginning, since the first battle where I annoyed him because I was the Untouchable Sage, I think was my name.
So
Yeah, that was it, the Untouchable Sage.
So there's a story, or there's a dilemma, and if my friend is listening, one of my best friends is listening, he knows this, and I have mentioned this before with him, and every time we play with him in a group, it's called the Matt Factor. So it doesn't matter what you do, he's gonna roll godly.
Yeah, he breaks characters. You can, yeah, it's
Eh,
insane.
It's like
So
the
with the
exact
game-
opposite of Jeremy.
So he wouldn't even have to do much. Like, he'd already know. Like, you say, hey, we're going to be doing the D&D game. Oh, cool. I already have 7 characters.
Yeah, like he's one of our old roommates, and like he and I shared a room, and like there'd be days like because he's kind of insomniac, he'd be sitting there literally making characters all night and had a binder, of all these different characters.
Yeah, I only have a few of them on me because I did a lot of them on my other phone and I never ported it up. But yeah, I
This
just
is
have
the days before
character
D&D
sheets.
Beyond or anything
It's
like.
it's not D&D
It's
Beyond, but
the-
it's a character sheet app.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but it's just
but, yeah.
this is before the days of apps.
Yeah, he
Oh,
had
yeah,
a
yeah.
binder of characters.
I greatly appreciate having digital
Yeah.
because between one character and 2,000, my tablet's going to be the same thickness.
Yeah.
Right. All right. I know David's itching to get to this one. Why Is it just me or is that question like,
Why this social experiment over other ones? Why not play a video game together or listen to music?
I can think of a few reasons.
all right, few reasons. Go ahead. Shoot.
Let's see. One is the control. There's a lot of freedom, and there's a lot of versatility you can put into this one as opposed to, say, what was it, a video game. Listening to music together is fun, but you know what's even better? Listening to a soundtrack that was selected to be played while killing monsters in a D&D game. Who doesn't like a nice soundtrack to their video games, let alone a D&D game?
Also an episode we've done.
Also an episode we've done. And then
That you had a lot of input on.
And then with video games, as we're seeing with how many video games are coming out terribly because they're underdeveloped in spite of having a lot of time and man hours in general on it. Cyberpunk being a really good example. It's hard to make a video game that can compete versatility wise with like D&D or things that are ran by people. Because there's a lot that goes into it, and then people just look for bugs. It's the development of really any computer, anything, takes a lot, and it's only getting worse or more and more as time goes on. So with this one, it's, hey, we got a rule book. You're going to spend some time getting used to it or reading it. Sure, there's some investment time-wise and effort-wise and reading-wise, but ultimately, once you got that down, then you could just go, and your imagination is quite literally the limit. And I wouldn't even go that far because you can go on the internet and then tap into other people's imaginations. So honestly, the internet is the limit.
Anybody else on that?
So I was just thinking that like the reason you choose to play D&D over say a video game is because a video game is already predetermined for you.
Yes.
Like the quest line, there's very few actions and choices you get to make in a video game. While D&D, the limitation is your imagination and the imagination of your GM and what they allow to have happen. You're just not gonna get the freedom that you get from D&D into a video game. Now, music on the other hand is you're listening to music. You do that when you going to and from work. Yeah. You do that in your free time while you're doing dishes. Music is usually something that helps you make the time go by quicker with whatever activity you're doing. D&D, you got to take your time with.
Yeah, there's a bit of investment into it, but the payout is much more customizable.
Okay. Mike?
I forgot what the question was.
How does this differ? Why this?
Social experience over others versus playing video games together and listening to music.
That's one you can like you're actually interacting with people more. I mean, like with video games, you can interact with them to a
Degree.
to a certain degree. But like listening, it's imagination. Like it's endless possibilities.
True. I think with this, it is like, unless you're really playing like a campaign story where you guys are all experiencing it, it's different when you're playing a character that you guys all built. You have the experience, and like playing in a campaign, like with my wife and stuff, it's like we have stories about, that campaign and, where she remembers stuff, and even after that, it's just stories you tell of where a character does something, and then it becomes a thing of where, one of our friends was out for one of the games, and it was like, we're like, oh, he had fish stew. So that's the joke of, whenever somebody's out, that person's, because you don't want to run that character. And so that comes with it. And then there was a very old story from one of my older friends' games. It was called this thing was Poke the Snail Sumatuk. And that's referencing in 3.5, there is I think they're called knocker snails or something like that, which is kind of based off of the shotgun snail, I think it is. The one that can shoot a sonic blast to knock out its prey.
You're talking about the
something shrimp or
shrimp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're kind of based off of that, and pretty much what happens is the snail pulls out like arms or something like that, and has like these big clubs on it that pretty much can kill you. And so the reference came Poke the Snail Sumatuk. So it's just stories and stuff like that you learn with your people versus society now, or I mean social media and all that stuff.
Yeah.
All right, final question we have here, running us through the typical D&D session. Start with David.
Getting the people together is definitely number one. I think everyone who's ever played D&D can agree that like the stars usually align on a D&D session maybe once or twice in a blue moon. So getting everybody together is the first thing. And then deciding what the campaign is going to be, because from that, like, I don't think people realize it's not just, okay, we have our dice, we have our people, let's start playing. I think people forget that it's getting us together. Okay, we've gotten us together. Then you spend like an hour deciding what the campaign is going to be. And in that campaign, you have to decide who the characters are, what their traits are, their backstory. You know, you are designing the game before you even have a chance to play it.
Yeah.
And that if you get to play it, it could be an hour or two before you make it through Act 1, Part 1.
Well, at least with the first session or so.
Right.
Once you get the campaign established.
Yeah, the hardest thing is the beginning. You have to come up. All right, what's the universe? Are we using somebody else's, or are we creating our own? You got to come up with, well, what are we trying to do? What's happening, and why do we care? Create your characters. Actually, find a schedule that works for everybody to meet up. And then you can actually think about what a typical D&D session is once you finally get the setup. And then typical D&D session, well, in this day and age, a lot of things are on phones. Like, I have my character sheets on my phone, so I'm usually on it. But some people will probably, like, look at other non-D&D things, such heathens. I don't understand it. Yeah. Unfortunately, that can take away from immersion, storytelling, like paying attention, asking, wait, what? Or when did this happen? When you weren't paying attention because you were on Facebook or something like that. Yeah. So that is unfortunately fairly typical. I mean, some people decide to play no electronics, or you got to keep it on the table. But I would use mine for note taking to a certain extent. But largely, it's because of my character sheet. He who brings snacks is the man. They deserve all the support and all the love, because it is underappreciated. Because I know I would forget to bring stuff. I've ordered pizza a few times, and instead of being targeted viciously, I was just targeted regularly. So that was nice, very nice. It has its perks. It is pay to win. Yeah. Like 4 hours of getting pissed off because a wolf is trying to kill your level 1 person. You can't not roll ones.
Yeah. So you guys pretty much touched on a lot of it. I know when Ronnie runs games, it's usually a no cell phones. Although our group was pretty damn bad at following that rule.
Well, it wasn't really that. It's our group is very ADD oriented.
I'm actually diagnosed.
I don't care if you're diagnosed or not.
Diagnosed a pain in my insert expletive.
Catchphrase.
But yeah, I thought of another thing that's the hardest part of D&D. Coming up with a damn backstory. I'm absolutely terrible at it.
So
some people, it just
I think I've come up with one out of all the games we've played.
The rest of us are over here like Mike.
So, yeah, running through a typical D&D session's always been first is getting everybody there for the session. Who's there for the session? Depending if you had the story for the session, this is from a GM's point of view. Because I've actually been the player that wasn't there, and the GM made this whole story for me. We had a party, and I mixed alcohols, so it was really bad.
Don't add Jaeger to an AMF.
Pretty much. It was bad.
While we're on the topic of backstories, I have
I thought you were
one
gonna
of the
say
most
Jaeger.
comical backstories.
Okay, hold on. We're going to get there. So, coming up with characters and stuff like that from... I've always been a very imaginable person, so for backstories, it's a little bit easier for me, especially if I can take something and I'll run with it. Like when me and Eric was designing Basilin, the ranger, we talked about stuff, and then we played through his whole backstory of the reason why he was like that. When I did Kafeli, we went through the whole backstory why she only had 3 fingers, and because in his world there's actually considered slave rings. And so being a matron from a cat society, I was stolen away so I was taken out of line. And so I got a slave ring, and one of the things was I bit it off. So that was one of the flaws, was I was missing 3 fingers. And so they put it on another finger, I bit it off. And they were like, okay, well, fine. We're going to cut off your other 2 fingers. So pretty much I only had these 2 fingers, or these 3 fingers. And so that was the whole story of coming up with that, making her. It was just taking something, going with it, see what you can come up with it. That's why I like about stuff about traits and flaws, because it gives you a little bit more idea of how to come up with stuff. And even from a D&D, a dungeon master, man, that whatever I ate. It's the hardest thing for figuring out a character, figuring out a story with a group, is figuring out your group. Really is the main important thing, because no matter what you come up with, you can try to run the story the best you want, but this is the predetermined questions that you have. What do you want? What do you guys feel more want to do? Very linear? Do you want to just kind of do what you want to do? There is some structure to some stuff, and you can make some structure without it looking like structure. And those are really good GMs to do that, and they've been doing this for years. Me, I'm kind of spur of the moment. I do have an outline, but it's very spur of the moment. And so, because with the group that I was running, a lot of it was like I did it on the fly. I was one of the fly ones. And it was because I never knew what the group would do. I'd have like characters, I have some encounters, and it was just like, all right, what are you guys going to do? Okay, you're going to encounter this, or you're going to encounter that. It was always I didn't know what was going on. I knew where I wanted to get you, and eventually you would get there, but you guys just paved the way to get there.
Yeah. It's a great approach. That's usually what I would try and do as well.
Yeah, because that's the thing is, like, with our friend, we always had the mat factor. You'd have a boss, you work on him to counter almost every goddamn thing. Natural 20. I'm done. Taking out a great worm.
Hey, David.
Taking out a purple worm. As a level 5 character taking out a purple worm. Like, that shouldn't happen. No. And it's just, sometimes it's for the sake of awesome, but a lot of times it's just like, what am I to do?
That is a phrase that I feel like we should touch on, because we didn't. This is the first time we brought it up. For the sake of awesome. Reminds me of the inspiration point. If you do something really cool or really intuitive, insert other words, you can be awarded a point. Wait, what did it? I forgot what it's called.
Inspiration point.
Yeah,
Or
we've been doing
depending
this
on
for a
which
minute.
system, they've done it several times. A hero point.
Yeah,
It's a bunch of different names.
and you can use that to. Well, I mean, to each their own. Some people use it differently, but I think the way we were doing it was the official way, which, if I remember correctly, because it's been a minute, you got to roll an extra d20 on any dice, right?
You get to depending on which edition. Sometimes you got to re-roll rolls. If you did, I think you got to re-roll rolls. You got to do certain things. It just depended on
The
what it
edition.
was.
Yeah.
And it because there were some things you couldn't use it on.
Yeah.
And so that was the thing, is like we kind of integrated that into Eric's world. Well, Eric integrated that into his world where it was considered luck. And so you can use a luck coin to so everybody got a luck at the beginning. So before everybody had 3 luck coins in the beginning. You know, and you got to do it. You either got to add a die to your, depending on damage. You got to add like a D4 to your damage. You got to add this or that, which was a pretty cool system
Yeah.
and stuff. But then we started building characters that abused that, and it got stupid.
Yeah.
But for the sake of awesome, for that type of stuff, it's you roll a natural 20, or you do something that's really cool, and then you're like, okay, give me a roll, and they're like, okay, you can do that. And then so you go and describe the scene to where, you know, they enacted that and
Yeah.
stuff.
Or it can be for something that just doesn't sound plausible, kind of like the story I told earlier about the cheese wheel.
Yeah.
It sounds so crazy, but like you don't feel like it should work on a purely logic level, but it's just for the sake of awesome. I'm gonna let you try, and if you get a high enough roll, then we're just gonna see how this plays out and have fun along the way. Because remember, ultimately, no matter if you're a serious D&D gamer, casual, or anything in between, at the end of the day, it is a game, and you're supposed to be having fun. So whether or not you like the hardcore role playing where, oh, this is definitely what my character would do, or if it's, I'm just basically playing as myself, and this is the choices I would make, and anything in between. But the most important thing is not just you having fun, but everybody in the group having fun. Because, it is a game. And some people tend to forget about that a little bit, including the DM should be having fun, too. We don't always succeed, but that's the sacrifice I was willing to make.
Touching base on that, it's like when, as a DM, and I've watched a lot of videos of people with DMs and suggestions for DMs and stuff like that, talking, first of all, to get a proper DM to understand everything is talk to your players first. Before you do your campaign, talk to your players, see what they're looking at, go from there, because that's how you're going to have fun, because you're going to be able to see what they're expecting, what their ideals are, and then you go from there. Not just trying to kill someone directly.
Yeah, remember that the rule book and all of that stuff, ultimately, those are just guidelines.
Exactly.
This is a game about freedom, as I've mentioned multiple times. And so
Sounding a little Pirates of the Caribbean.
no, but it's those are guidelines. Ultimately, everything is at the GM or DM's discretion. So if they decide, that's where awesome comes in.
All right.
Inspiration.
So, touching base on that, what's your final thoughts?
About D&D in general?
Yeah.
Personally, I think it's pretty cool. It's pretty fun, enjoyable. If you enjoy video games, specifically RPGs, where you actually can build a character, you can be invested in them, and play the way you want to play, basically, and see the world come together because of that. I think it's amazing. I think you would think it's amazing too.
All this talking about D&D makes me want to get back into a game and play again.
I have a campaign or like the premise of a campaign pretty much ready, and I was trying to play it last, but it just didn't work. But I'd be interested in John.
Yeah, I think it'd be good to get us together, and run a game.
Oh, I plan on it.
Yeah. And then we can actually use this table for what it's for.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know, but the top comes. It's
Oh, that's right.
game
Yeah.
table, yeah.
I haven't seen it, but I've heard the lore.
well, the mics and everything's all set up. But anyway, yeah, makes me want to get back into a game, start playing again. And I know my fiance wanted to get in on a game. I don't know if she'd want to do it like recording it and whatnot. But yeah. Anyway, that is my find something, watch somebody play if you're interested in it and learn about it. It's a fun game.
There's a lot of fun materials online about guides to D&D and introduction stuff like that.
Critical Role has YouTube videos called Handbook or Helper that are really good.
David, do you recall that one set of videos that Jeremy, I think, introduced to us?
Yeah, I'll have to find them and send them to everybody.
Yeah, those are pretty fun, explaining all the different classes and stuff like that.
So, yeah, my final thoughts is I've never been able to actually have a backstory. It's always been made for me. The backstory of my rogue was given to me by by Mike here. As a dwarf,
I have no recollection of
as a
this.
dwarf, you're not usually known to being someone that can be easily visible. You're short in stature, so you obviously want a job that reflects that.
Of course.
This guy thought it'd be super amusing to make the dwarf the flag bearer in the military.
Oh, yeah, I remember now.
So my final thoughts is I'd make sure you get a GM that lets you multiple choice your backstory.
Oh, that was great.
I think that was something that was.
I wanted this typical rogue backstory with all the trauma and
I'll have to go back and find. I'll go back and try to find the messages from that if I still have them. Because I think your backstory that you had was
you're it's way too cool for you.
no.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I think that was exactly said. Quote. That was a quote directly.
It might be. I don't know.
I mean, he wasn't wrong, though.
For me, D&D's always been kind of one of the escape from reality type thing. I've also played other games, other role-playing games that have been just as interesting as D&D. So it's very hard to not play a game and not have a game for a while. So I am, as we said, I am looking forward to your stupid phone. I am looking forward to playing a game, and just having fun. Possibly recording it, possibly doing something that I've been wanting to do for the last couple of years. So with that, I know I'm not doing that.
No, don't let it go dim.
I know. So,
Okay, never mind.
as you walk through a forest, you guys hear an eerie sound walking through the woods. You hear branches breaking from all around you. Our dwarf rogue, with his flag heading high, pulls his weapon. You're welcome, David. Pulls his weapon. Our human ranger, pulls his bow. Our sorcerer, rearing between both of them, starts to light his fingers ablaze. All of a sudden, you see 3 red eyes come through the shadows. Everybody,
Roll initiative.
Niv. Thank you. That is our podcast for today.
No outro music, nothing.
No.
It was pretty epic until you talked.